Milwaukee Megaplex. My name is Drew Olson. I am joined in this here studio, built by Reamer Remodel. Well, the studio is. He's not. SKB.
What's going on, brother man?
Well, Hunter Baumgart is at his post, monitoring the NicoletLaw.com talking text line 877-794-1973. Going to have some fun on this lovely Tuesday in the good land. Hope everybody is doing well. You could be doing better. You could win $1,000. Your chance right now. Bonus bucks, $1,000 is there for you if you enter our nationwide keyword in the contest at 973thegame.com. The keyword this hour is check. Enter check right now until 3:55. Check. It's a heat check tonight. We are, just under 2 hours away from what could be a historic and franchise-altering game for the Milwaukee Bucks. Bucks play tonight in Indianapolis. They're on the brink of extinction. They're down 3-1 in this series. There have been 13 teams in NBA history to come back from a 3-1 deficit. And I think the last time it happened twice. I think Denver did it in the bubble. So that gets an asterisk. But teams that lead series 3-1 in the NBA have a 95.5% chance historically to close out the series. That's what the history tells us. I mean, does this series really matter? Are the Bucks a title contender at all? No. The history could be made is that going into this game, when the ball goes up in the air at 5 o'clock, it could be the last game for Doc Rivers as the Bucks coach. It could be the last game for Giannis as the Bucks mega superstar and our local icon.
Oh my!
I'm not saying that's likely. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of smoke from NBA types, and people have been wishing for Giannis to move on forever. But I think I'm coming around to the idea. I've worked myself into the realization that if Giannis comes back, the Bucks have to make changes, wholesale changes. They have some stuff they can do with the roster. They got some guys that have player options. They only have, I think, 4 guys under guaranteed contract, and one of them being Dame Lillard, who's likely to miss a big chunk of next year, and Kuzma, Giannis, and then there's one other guy, I think. But I've come around to the idea that if Giannis goes, the Bucks will just stay the course, and Doc Rivers will be the coach. If Giannis stays, they have to change things and change the furniture around, and then it's almost untenable to think that they could keep Doc Rivers as their coach. So one or the other will be gone. That is what I'm thinking of. One or the other will be gone.
But why do you think Giannis is gone?
I don't. I think there's a chance.
Because what's your gut saying?
Because intellectually, with where the Bucks are and the draft picks that they gave up to get Drew Holiday and then Dame.
Well, they got nothing.
They got nothing in that cupboard. It's really hard to rebuild or fix the plane while it's in the air, which is kind of what they have to do. If Giannis buys in and wants to stay and is willing to, I don't want to say tank, but meander, to wallow in some mediocrity that would be beneath his status as a star player who can call his own shots to some extent. If Giannis wants to stay in Milwaukee, the Bucks will do it. They'll build around it. The Bucks need put it this way.
Oh no, they won't.
The Bucks need to rebuild, whether with Giannis or without Giannis. They need a rebuild,
right?
Because they got old and they're not where they need to be to compete for a title, which is everybody's goal. Intellectually, I say, if I was running the team, and if you divorce yourself from your feelings about Giannis and our market and the star and the bond between him and the city, and it makes all the sense in the world.
You know what?
On from Giannis right now, right? I just intellectually, it's the play. It's and there's a lot of cold, calculated NBA analysts saying, yeah, they have to. Like it's the only, and you're going to suck for a while. And there's going to be fan backlash, and there's going to be empty arenas for a while, and you might end up tanking to get, decent picks. But Giannis is 30. You got Dame at 30. What? He'll be 35 coming off an Achilles.
Dame, you don't want. He's not going to be back next year, and you don't want him. But in terms of,
he's got at least 6 months. 6 months to a year is the thing for that.
I would argue that when you take a look at this ownership group, their primary goal as an ownership group is not to win a championship. I don't think they care that much.
We've had this argument before. We're not opening this can of worms.
Okay. I don't think they
do.
You
say they want to make money, and I say the best way to make money is to win a championship.
And I'm saying, no, the best way to make money is just own a team.
Well, that's
whether you win a championship or not.
True. But to maximize it, you want to win. And
I think the incremental growth by winning a championship of the money is nowhere near what it is just for having the team. the incremental growth you get.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Those
you can
guys-
make money with a losing team, but you make more money with a winning team. The Bucks vaulted in
but the money
their value.
their
value vaulted with a winning. And with Giannis, Fiserv's basically the house that Giannis built, and that all that development came at that same time. The stuff that they owned, so that's added to the value of the investment. We're not going down that road, but the thing is, intellectually, you can make the case that they should back up the truck, get a bunch of young stars and a bunch of picks, and trade Giannis. I don't want them to do that. Nobody does, really. If you're a Milwaukeean or you're a Wisconsinite or you're a Bucks fan at all, you want to keep Giannis where he is. Now, people are pointing to other stars like Steph Curry kind of stayed the course and, went through a championship wave and then stayed the course and then won another one. And that would be on brand for Giannis. I always bet the under when it comes to stars staying in one town. And Giannis, for the record, has said nothing but that he wants to stay in Milwaukee. He has never said first thing smoking. He raised eyebrows when Luka got traded, and he made a comment about, I'd love to see all European players in big markets doing great things. He didn't include himself there. He said European players. People parse that. They look at it, and they just think he's getting the itch like everybody else does. Giannis likes his life. He likes Milwaukee. He said it a gajillion times. And people still have a hard time believing him because every time you turn on an NBA show, they're like, oh, Giannis is going to want out of Milwaukee. Well, does he? Yes, he wants to win a title, but those two things can coexist.
I'm not worried about Giannis. Everything that we've seen since Giannis has become, Giannis, and watching him through his entire career. If there's one thing that I can say, knowing what I see of him and everything that he's said and done, don't know the man, but one thing that I believe firmly with all of my soul is that he is a man of his word, and he's a man of honor. And if he said he wants to stay here until his contract is up, he wants to stay here until his contract is up. Yeah. I don't see him making demands. Okay.
Then that's the only way you trade him, is if he demands it. Really, if you're the Bucks.
If you're the Bucks, you don't trade him. Besides,
unless he tells you that
you have to trade. You're going to have to trade him to a crappy team to get good picks, because they have painted themselves into a corner. They got rid of all their picks for Dame, betting on the come to win.
But they gave away a bunch of picks for Drew too.
And Drew Holiday, right? Okay, so
trying to win,
and one they got one.
They did win. Yeah, they did.
But they have no picks, so they can't even tank to get a pick because they can't. They can't. They won't get a pick.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you trade Giannis, you would be getting picks back.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
And a rider truckload
that's
of young,
what I'm saying.
Controllable talent and picks.
Sure. Yeah.
Rudy Gobert got traded for 5 number 1 picks, didn't he? I think that was
if you trade him, you will get picks.
Yes.
But I'm saying if you you can't rebuild around him because you have no picks.
Well, rebuilding around him would be getting younger free agents, getting creative.
Well, yeah, that's what you'd have to do is free agents. But there's a reason they're free agents.
Lopez is gone. Well, no, the free agents, like you don't think there's guys that want to get out of Sacramento or wherever? I mean,
what are you going to give them?
But money. That's how free agency works. That's what the money's for.
Straight free agents. Okay,
yes, that's what the money's for. And if you're going to if Lopez is off the books, and let's say Portis and Connaughton and some guys making money, you have some money in a pool, right? You're going to have some money to reconstruct. But the other thing is the Doc thing. And I'm having a hard time with that too, because I think if Giannis goes, the Bucks would be like, well, we're rebuilding. Does it matter who's coaching? And we're committed to Doc for, what is it? 40 million or 30 million or 40 million on his deal. There. So you'd have to pay him. But here's the thing. It hasn't worked with Doc. And I was thinking about this as I watched them unravel after Dame's injury on Sunday night, with that 8:30 tip, offset by the stupidity of a 5:00 tip today. But I watched that and I said, remember when when Jordan Love went down and Matt LaFleur got creative, he got in his bag and him and Stenovich drew up all these cool running plays that we'd never seen. And the Packers were moving the ball and they made Malik Willis look like an accomplished, entrenched starter. And they won a couple games that people didn't think they would win. You said to yourself, that guy can coach. He knows what he's doing. He's creative. He can coach. At what point during Doc Rivers' tenure with the Bucks have you said that? Have they looked well coached, well oiled, prepared, and just not? They've had a couple of good streaks, but they haven't had that. This is working. When
is the last time you've seen name an innovative coach in the NBA that isn't Phil Jackson or Pat Riley.
You're looking at one in this series right now. Look, Rick Carlisle is coaching his ass off. I mean, look at what's going on. Look at Cleveland, Kenny Atkinson. Look, there's all kinds of them. There's all kinds of them around the league.
But it's, is there anyone who's changing anything radically? Like the triangle offense that Phil Jackson came up with, and things like that. Is that happening, or are they just being creative with matchups? Is anyone doing anything different? And I would argue that it's different with football, because there are many more moving parts in a football play, offense versus defense, than there are in basketball. There's at least 12 more moving parts, right? 22 players on the field versus 10 on the court. Yeah. So there's 22 more moving parts. So, the ability to get more creative is, I wouldn't say easier, but there's more opportunity there with football. But do you see any, they don't, we've had this discussion, they don't practice. Well, how are you going to change things if you're not practicing?
Yeah, that's
right. How are you going to install? Okay, we're going to. That's the modern NBA.
It's not that these coaches don't do anything.
No, but it's
just they don't just roll the balls out. Somebody's drawing plays out of timeouts. Somebody's drawing inbound plays. Someone's designing defense, deciding when to go zone. Substitution patterns are basically everything in the ebb and flow of a game, and matchups are huge. There's a chess match going on right now with Houston and Golden State, and Golden State's got the upper hand now because Jimmy Butler was a freak last night. And so, sometimes individual performances rise up, but coaching enables that, I would think. And it's just my thing with Doc is when have they looked like well coached and well oiled? And you said, oh, that was great. That was, Giannis, if there's one guy in the world that could stave off elimination facing a 95% chance that you're going to lose, it's number 34 for Milwaukee. He could win a game single-handedly tonight. He could win, game 6 back in Milwaukee. He could will them to a victory against the Pacers. If there's one guy in the league that can do it single-handedly, I don't think it's going to happen, but he's the guy that I would bet on it happening.
I think he's got the heart and the determination to do it. I don't think he can.
No, probably not. But his future, and then that's where I'm looking at. We talked about yesterday briefly because we were so deep in the draft. The fork in the road that the Bucks are approaching. Like I said, they have to rebuild, but how and with whom? And
what do they?
Their biggest offseason move is now circumvented because that would have been trading Dame for something and getting younger and maybe getting some picks and nibbling around it that way. And they can't do that now.
What it's like is being married and your wife goes, "We need a new kitchen. We got to get a new kitchen. We have to do the kitchen." And you are going, "With what?" That's exactly where the Bucks are right now. We need to rebuild around Giannis. With what? Where's that coming from? Because there's nothing. They gave away
if Giannis goes, and I'm thinking the Bucks would then say, well, then let's ride it out and let Doc coach, and let's not. They're not counting pennies there. These guys are billionaires, and it's a lot of money to us. They don't blink buying out big con. They didn't blink with Budenholzer. The Suns didn't blink. They're paying Budenholzer $40 million over the next 4 years to not coach their team. Happens all the time in the league. The Bucks paid him $8 million to not coach for a year before he got the Phoenix job. The Bucks could absorb buying out Doc Rivers if they had to. That's just a line item. It's chump change. It's money in the sofa cushions or in the car console for them to do that. But I just think they will make a change. Now, there are some who think that Doc's replacement, that Doc could get moved to president of basketball operations, be John Horst's boss, just basically be president of golf and collect his check for a while and stay on the payroll, and that Darvin Ham would slide over a chair and take over. He's got some experience running the Lakers. He's well loved by the players on the team. That could be a move that they make. Would that help? There's a couple guys who've been fired this year from playoff teams, Denver and Memphis. There's a lot of candidates out there, young, creative guys that would love a crack to coach Giannis in any, in any form. Being able to coach Giannis would be like, okay, let me have at it. Let me see what I can do with, building around him. He is still a superstar. He's still a top 5 player in the league. It's still awesome. I cheer for him, but I also intellectually, like way down deep, I think, the right thing would be to say we're moving on and give Giannis a chance to go play somewhere else. I hope they hang on to him. I hope it doesn't happen. But if you look at it clinically and separate the fandom and the city and the bond.
There's no doubt that's what's going to happen.
Probably, well, it's the right thing to do. I don't know that it's going to happen. It's not.
Oh, I know it's the right thing to do is to trade him, but I don't know if I agree. I don't know if it's going to happen. I kind of look at it like Joe Thomas in Cleveland, right? Here's a guy that is the best ever, could you argue one of the best ever at his position, and he's surrounded by a crap team, but still plays hard every single snap. That's a rare individual. And that's what Giannis is.
Yeah. He's
okay. And, but I'll tell you that owners don't care. Owners do not care. They do not care because, and I've said this going back a year, at least a year. I said, if Giannis comes up for another Supermax, they're not going to pony up, and you'll see probably Eden sell his portion of the team and get out because he is not, he's a money guy flat out, and money guys are money guys. And that's not going to change.
877-794-1973. I don't know how it's going to go. It's going to be fascinating. The fact that they extended John Horst and he's going to kind of lead them on this journey was fascinating. John Horst has done a good job of keeping Giannis around, keeping him happy. So that's job one for the Bucks general manager to me is like, whatever you need, Giannis, whatever we can do to make you happy and keep you here.
So let's say the Bucks trade Giannis. And you've got to stand out in front of the media and the fans. What do you say?
We thank him for his service. We have to move on in a direction. There's just
a bunch of BS.
We felt that this was in the best interest of the team. And then you just can't care.
How?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, it's like we felt this was you got rid of one of the greatest players, and that's in the best interest of the team.
Well, they'd have to find a nice way of saying we're parking a Lamborghini outside of a double wide trailer.
Well, right.
That's what because the idea is to win a championship. It is as sick as it sounds. If you do start over and rebuild and suck for a couple of years, you might be closer to a championship in 3 years without him than you are 3 years with him.
You got to remember,
make that case, and that's what they're wrestling with. That's what It's again intellectually, it is a tough exercise. Like, well, how are they best suited? Yeah, you don't want to get rid of one of the top 5 players in the league. That would be stupid. Everybody who doesn't have a top 5 player wants a top 5 player.
Sure.
But at the same time, if you have a top 5 player and you're not close to being a deep playoff team, even in the weak East, it's time for a soul search.
Well, it's time to look at the front office. You get a superstar like that, you can't put a team together.
But again, but they rolled dice. Like I said, they gave up a bunch of draft picks, I think, to get the Drew Holiday. Hunter, look up
they
the
gave
Drew
up
Holiday
all the draft picks to get Jay Crowder.
And they gave up a bunch to get Jay Crowder. They're all in the service of trying to win. It wasn't malpractice. It was stuff that didn't work. But basically what they did is they were running a business. Things got tight. They put stuff on the credit card and the bills are coming due.
Right.
It happens to
exactly
a lot of teams.
Happened.
Happens to a ton of teams right now.
That's exactly what happened. And now they're going to have someone come.
You're going to see it.
They're going to recall. They're going to recall the.
Look at like in the NFL. I think the example would be the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They had great guys, great players, never really got over that hump.
Let's not forget.
And now they're like, and today I guess they just signed Kittle to a big deal, and they're trying to. I don't know what Purdy's status is, but they got old, got expensive, and your window starts to close. And it's not again the moves that the Bucks made, the ones that didn't pan out at the time. You could see it, and then you look back now and go, "Oh, if they hadn't done that," but at the time it was like, "Yeah, okay, I can see it. They're going for it." Didn't work out. Didn't pay off with another title.
They're not going to be if that were to happen, they aren't getting a sniff of the title until 2030 at least. At least.
So with Giannis, I think he'll ride it out. I don't think he'll make any noise this year. But then again, from the team standpoint, it's better to trade a guy remember when what the Brewers did with Burns when they have a year left, right? They traded him early to maximize the return because then you get more return. I find it fascinating. I'm going to watch this game tonight. I'm going to watch this game tonight through the filter of I'm just going to enjoy every second I get to watch Giannis in a Bucks uniform for 48 minutes tonight. I'll enjoy it. I might even stop and get a Euro and enjoy that while watching the second half
and get some Chobani yogurt.
Yeah, in his honor, I would do that
and some olives.
But that is what we're up against tonight. Larry in Milwaukee is on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line. Larry, welcome to Drew and KB. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. You guys are talking about Giannis and the team and everything else. Can you imagine if Giannis does go and the rest of the team does go one way or the other, how much of a ghost town you're going to have downtown there, around all the bars, all the restaurants, everything else that's within walking distance or whatever else?
That is
to kill it.
That is real, and that again.
That is, that's a darn thing to think about too, or fight.
Well, and that again, that to me, that undercuts KB's thing about they just want to cut costs and cut money. Like again, like if Giannis isn't there, to Larry's point, Bucks own a hotel there. They own all the buildings with all those bars. If those dry up, that's on their balance sheet, and they lose that revenue. Not to mention the merch that Giannis accounts for, that the sales globally and stuff that they get a chunk of. It, as much as that's why what they pay him, even at $60 million a year, he's actually a bargain at $60 million a year, which again sounds completely stupid, but it's true. Giannis is actually a bargain. And in terms of the ancillary revenue, there's no question. And look at other markets, man. The Brewers play the White Sox tonight. The White Sox could move out of the south side of Chicago, and it'd probably be the best thing that they could do, right? It's unbelievable how that has just been torpedoed. And amazingly, the White Sox aren't the worst team in baseball right now. The Rockies hold that mantle, and the Rockies might be worse. Talk about poisoning a market. So that my advice is we'll see how it goes. It is going to be an unbelievably critical offseason for the Bucks. But tonight, whether it's their last game or not, if they get one more home game, great. Because then we can enjoy Giannis playing at Fiserv at least one more time, right? But I just smell the roses. I've said this in Giannis's entire tenure. I've been on the radio, Giannis's entire tenure in Milwaukee, and I'm like, enjoy this guy. Enjoy this guy. He might not be around. Star players don't often stay in one market. Enjoy it. Savor it. Kind of like the lessons that you should have learned with Favre and then Rodgers, that they're not going to be, nothing's permanent in sports.
Who would be the most devastating? Good question. Who would be the most devastating to lose after Giannis in Wisconsin sports?
Jackson Chourio.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's
the next Giannis to me. He's
right.
Like
that's what
guy.
was in my mind. So right now, as it stands right now,
Chourio and one has Jordan Love.
Okay. And I'm saying let's take Jackson Chourio and Giannis. Keep one. When we come back, let's have that discussion. Keep one.
Now, when we come back, we'll talk in Packers and draft because Matt Schneidman from The Athletic is going to join the party, and we'll get his thoughts. Now, smaller story, off-track betting in the Himalayas. There's little percolations, and I want to know where the Schneidometer is on Jair Alexander because he gave us a percentage, then he increased the percentage, and now Rob Domofsky's written a story that may or may not have smoke behind it. We'll talk to Schneidman about that entire endeavor. We won't table the Bucks discussion, though. Tonight, they're playing a playoff game. It's an elimination game. I don't think the Bucks are a threat to win a title. Are they a threat to win tonight's game? They're a 7.5-point underdog. But I don't put anything past Giannis when it comes to one game and that guy. So it's going to be fun to watch. Keep it right here. We're off to a rolling start. Drew and KB statewide on the game.
Wearing nothing but a smile fell to the floor. They say seeing is believing. And when you check out what's waiting for you at American Place Casino, you'll definitely believe you'll love it. From thrilling gaming to top-notch service, we're changing the game. Come play all your favorites like blackjack, craps, roulette, and the latest slots. Catch a game at the sportsbook, enjoy great restaurants, bars, and more. If you're ready for excitement, exceptional service, and an experience you'll never forget, then we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game. Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling, and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER.
Most people think buying or selling their home, commercial lot, or vacant land is simple and easy. Those of us who have dabbled in real estate before know it's not always that straightforward. I hear plenty of stories of high-pressure situations, last-minute changes, and other curveballs, forcing people to make quick decisions without the expertise of a lawyer. That's why I'm sending all my friends and family to Greg Urchel Real Estate Group. Greg is a practicing real estate lawyer with a team of real estate experts to make your next real estate purchase, sale, or lease seamless. Whether it's for your own private home or your business, Greg Urchel Real Estate has you covered. Don't wait until it's too late. Get in touch with Urchel Real Estate.
At Potawatomi, where ways to win are endless, another chance to capture epic cash and prizes comes Friday, June 27th. It's the season finale blockbuster drawings. Watch your entries from Enchanted Spins, Unreal Treasures, and Boundless Bounty come together for drawings where $300,000 in cash and prizes is there for the taking. Be there to win your share. June 27th only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info online. Must be 21 years old to play.
I gave it a shot, and I came in and had a procedure done. To me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago.
Drew Wilson from 97 through the game for Pep's Draft House Pizza, the official pizza of the Timeout Sports Lounge. When it comes to pizza, there is no other pizza quite like Pep's Prohibition Special. It starts with a combination of sweet and slightly spicy Italian sausage, pepperoni, mushrooms, yellow, green, and red peppers, and just the right amount of red onions. Real Wisconsin mozzarella, and it's finished off with fresh Italian seasoning. My gosh, that's the good stuff. Make your house a draft house with Pep's Prohibition Special Pizza.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your sports betting action. With baseball in full swing and in the home stretch for basketball and hockey playoffs, BetOnline has all the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. And in between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline. The game starts here.
If you plan on draining buzzer beaters, the place to start is Burkhardt, where you'll find a great selection of residential basketball hoops from the best brand, Goalrilla. We'll handle the installation and take care of everything to make it easy from start to finish. And right now, when you buy from Burkhardt, standard hoop installation is half price. You can't beat that. This is Brian Burkhardt, and when you love basketball like we do, you can't beat Burkhardt. New Berlin and Fox Point.
Tired of feeling like you're in a fishbowl every time you hit the road? It's time to tint your windows. Tinting your windows will not only block harmful UV rays, but also reduces glare and keeps your car cooler on those scorching summer days. We offer a lifetime warranty on film and installation. Charisma offers a color-stapled film that makes your vehicle look great, and a ceramic film that blocks 99% of UV rays and 85% of sun's heat. Ceramic window film is the best you can get and keeps you cool in blistering summer heat. 262-444-2525. CharismaCustoms.com.
Have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins yet? Because if you haven't, you're missing out on technology that changes how you think about shoes. First, these are not just regular slip-on shoes. They're not just a pair of loafers without laces. But what makes them different is the technology inside that lets you just step into them. There's a built-in hidden shoehorn that slides your foot in, so they look, feel, and wear just like a pair of shoes you're used to. Except you don't have to bend down, struggle to put them on, or touch them. Try them at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature-Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature-Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
The new iHeart app just looks better.
The best feature of a car radio on the app.
It's the presets.
Super easy.
And thank you for keeping it free.
Get in on what everyone's talking about and get the new and improved free iHeart Radio app today.
The Calder Cup playoffs begin Thursday night when the Milwaukee Admirals host the Rockford IceHawks.
He'll carry back to the middle of the line, leave it for Friedman. Martin without his goalie stick. Friedman near pipe, score!
Pre-game coverage begins at 6:30. Face-off is at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeart Radio app.
You know, you always want to kind of connect with the quarterback when you get him some pieces. And so I FaceTimed him, and he's like, man, sub 4.3. He's like, I got to get that arm loose. So, I mean, he can roll. And I said, hey, man, you're just going to have to get that ball up on time and out early.
Packers coach Matt Lepay brings us back Drew and KB from the Iron Jock studio, capably assisted by Hunter Baumgart on the ones and twos. He's monitoring the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line 877-794-1973. We welcome to the program our pal Matt Schneidman from The Athletic. That clip. Did Jordan Love move to Malibu that you have to FaceTime him?
You know, I did see some comments online like, finally, a Packers employee FaceTimes his quarterback. So, yeah, that was pretty funny. But I wanted to start this off. I got this sent to me today. It's a flyer for an event, and it has a picture of Leroy Butler in his gold jacket. And
God, don't even say it.
And
I
the
saw it.
caption says Leroy Butler, Pro Football Hall of Famer, and Packers icon Drew Olson, voice of the Packers Radio Network.
Packers icon?
Yeah, that's
icon.
It's at Metro Market on Saturday. They'll be sharing stories and talking about all the rookie roster action that happened in Green Bay over the weekend. Packers icon Drew Olson.
Icon.
Boy, oh boy. I got my agent's working overtime now. Stealing that from Jeff Cirillo, who is the only icon on the Dream
Also,
TV program.
very quickly before we talk Packers, I have not been on this show. I deserve all the hate and vitriol. Hunter knows exactly what I'm about to say. I have not talked to him about this. Devin Williams is a freaking disaster.
Oh, yeah, he's a train wreck.
Yeah, but at least he's complaining about how many reporters are in the clubhouse.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
wasn't
good
going to
sign.
say that since I didn't know if that was on the record. You told me that last week that Devin Williams was overheard complaining in the Yankees clubhouse about how many reporters cover the Yankees. He's not built for New York City, but
No.
he had a 1-2-3 inning as the setup man yesterday. So
You know what?
Still lost.
When they traded Hader and they moved Devin Williams to the closer, I said the closer role is not a role of attrition. Right? And I've always liked him better. And I've
Closer
never
role is totally a role of attrition.
No, it's not.
It's a temp job. You have it, and then you puke it away, and someone else gets it. And
No,
then they
but
hold
what
it
I'm
for a while,
saying is you
and then they
don't-
eventually puke it away.
you don't
Except for
immediately-
Trevor Hoffman and Mariano Rivera, it's a totally revolving door.
No, I'm saying you don't automatically get it if you were the setup guy. That's what I mean. You don't automatically
You're the first guy
move.
on the list to get the chance.
Well, yeah, how did it work out? I never liked him as a closer.
Oh, he
And
was
that
only
guy
a two-time reliever of the year, right?
And he scared the hell out of you. And now people are onto his changeup. He's got 2 pitches. And sorry, Matt, but I'm kind of glad to see the Yankees get beat around by that.
Hoffman
no,
and Rivera had
they're
one
in
each.
first place in the AL East, so we're surviving.
Oh, no, and they're
Oh,
not
yeah,
going to use, you're not going to
you're
use
getting
him.
past, yeah.
But
And
he's
it's-
a better setup guy than he is a closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'll go to hell with that.
all right, Matt, where were we? Oh, yes, I was going to ask. I know what I was going to ask.
The
you.
Green
First
Bay
of all,
Packers.
First of all, yeah, I knew somebody would make fun of that icon thing. I just saw that on an email today. But Matt, I want to give you a thumbs up, a tip of the cap if I was wearing one, because I was walking around with Red Hot Tim Scott at that prospect thing early on Thursday morning when they were interviewing them and they were doing the clinic and stuff. And I'm looking around and there were a couple TV people there, not many print guys, but damn it, Matt Schneidman showed up. He didn't have to. He wasn't on the clock. You weren't really... but that whether it was false hustle or not, I'm applauding your hustle for being there and for experiencing parts of the draft that others chose not to.
You want to know why? Because unlike my fellow beat writers, I am single and don't have a family, so I have nothing better to do.
Hey, you just wear this one, right? Enjoy the advantage while you have it, that you went to a thing that wasn't required and it didn't advance, I don't know if it made it into your stories or not, but
no, it didn't.
It was just a part of getting the flavor of the draft. You were around those prospects, and I was like, damn, Schneidman got off his couch. You could have gone and worked out at Planet Fitness on Mason. You could have done all kinds of other things, but you went and partook of the draft. So kudos to you. All right, Matt, I want to know where's the Schneidometer on Jair Alexander? Because you gave us one percentage and then you upped it. And now whether there's anything to Rob Domofsky's story that's new or not, I can't glean. But has your meter changed on the idea that Jair could be a Packer and still play for the Packers this year?
Yes, I would put it at 33. What was my percentage last time?
You were nudging into the 20s, I think.
I'll go up to 33% that he is a Packer.
Okay.
I think there is some truth to Brian Gutekunst saying we're still working through things. Now, I don't know why you would trade him unless a team forks over something crazy, because you can't use that draft capital to make your team better this year. There's a reason I'm not a GM, which is what I said when we were at Buffalo Wild Wings last Tuesday. And it's because I would just keep him and be like, oh, I can afford him. Okay, I'll keep him. Because you don't need the cap space that you would free up by releasing him. Like, it's not a dire need to free up cap space. So there isn't much of a reason to release him anyway. But I do see maybe what the Packers are thinking, and that's he's played in, let's see, 16 of a combined 37 games the last 2 years because of 4 different injuries. If we bank on him being healthy again and he's not, then it just screws us over even more. So you can argue both sides of this, but I think there's a legitimate shot he is still a Packer. And that has changed from early in the offseason.
What is it that they're working through? Contract restructuring?
I would imagine so. I would imagine, this is just me, hypothesizing, but I would imagine if they do want him back, that they wouldn't want him back at his current figure. He currently has the 3rd highest cap hit on the team behind Jordan Love and Rashawn Gary. His base salary is like $16.5 million. So they could do a couple things. They could convert that salary and spread some of it out over a couple years so it lessens the cap hit for this year, or they could just give him a standard pay cut. I'm not as well versed in the cap and money as other people are, but they could do a pay cut and then, have him try and earn what that pay cut was back in incentives. Like if they give him a $5 million pay cut, let's say, I'm just throwing numbers out there, and then say, well, if you make a Pro Bowl, you earn that $5 million back. Or if you play a certain amount of games, you earn $3 million of that back. So I'm sure they'll go through some things here and propose a restructured contract to Jair and his agent, John Thornton. And if they say, no, we're not doing it, there may be some negotiations. But if they can't come to a resolution on the contract, then he'll be released.
Almost has to go that way, because who's going to trade for him if they think he might be released? You're just going to wait that out and lowball him, and there's no value there. I mean,
that's probably why he hasn't been traded yet, because teams think that he's just going to be released.
Yeah, and so why give up even a 7th round draft pick? Which isn't that where they took a corner? Where did they take the corner?
7th
in this draft, 7th. So does their decision not to take a corner? I know the Packers are true to their board and all that stuff, but does the decision not to take a corner, does that create optimism for a Jair return, or are they kind of unrelated?
I think they're unrelated. They needed depth there anyway because they lost Eric Stokes, Corey Ballantyne, and Robert Rochelle in free agency. So they needed some extra bodies there, not necessarily starting caliber bodies, but whether or not Jair stays, they needed some more guys at the back end of that group.
So how did the Packers end up here with him? Yeah, he was injured, hasn't played a lot, but then there were these other mitigating circumstances, with all the off-field stuff and not going
games. Out for the coin toss.
There was stuff. No, I mean, there was some stuff that in a regular job you would consider to be personnel issues. How did it get here?
I think the main thing, you said it, KB, is the injury stuff and the cost. But if you hook Brian Gutekunst up to a lie detector test, part of him would probably say that, the off the field stuff maybe factors into this a little bit. Maybe they would be more willing to keep him or more willing to pay him a certain amount if he was the most consummate professional, most consummate team player. But, I've covered Jair for 6 years now, gotten to know him as fairly well, about as well as you can an athlete. You obviously don't know everything about them or nearly everything about them. He marches to the beat of his own drum. He just does. That's very clear. And some people inside that organization it's a very hierarchical organization, and that was part of Aaron Rodgers' problem. Personnel makes personnel decisions. Coaches coach, players play. Now, there's probably some blurred lines and coaches have some say in personnel, but for the most part, it's 3 levels. And Jair, he kind of does things his own way, and maybe he doesn't just fall in line with players' play. And some people might have an issue with that. So does that factor into them not wanting to, bend over backward to bring him back? I would probably say a little bit if I had to guess, but make no mistake, this is mainly about the injuries and the cost.
Getting on the field.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that suspension, it did seem like they smoothed that over. And the same thing like with Romeo Doubs. Like they're saying great things about Romeo Doubs, and he's an important black guy to us. And, all the lip service they're giving there, it seemed like they did move on from that. But when they were talking, and especially when Jair was working out and then he'd practice all week and then be unavailable to play, the frustration in Matt LaFleur's pressers was palpable.
100%.
And the fact that, and that's another thing where the Packers and Goody's followed Ted's example of just fade into the woodwork during the season and don't have a radio show and don't do a lot of stuff. But then the coach has to wear all that. I remember McCarthy getting frustrated with that kind of stuff. with personnel stuff that comes up that he has to address because he's the guy standing at the podium
Right.
representing the organization. LaFleur had that too. And he was agitated with Jair's whole situation, and being asked about it repeatedly by you guys didn't help. But
Right.
it's your job to ask it. And he,
Of course. I think that was probably more of Matt LaFleur is frustrated at the situation than the player. I don't think it's, Jair's not fighting through injury. He had a legitimate injury, but I think Matt LaFleur was more frustrated at the fact that he didn't have his $21 million a year cornerback on the field.
Yeah. And you can't tell me they're not a better team. Even if Jair for 10 games is better than Jair for 0 games.
They 100% are.
It's like they're better. And Nate Hobbs might be a great pickup and a great citizen and a solid player, but he's not Jair.
No, not at least not that we know of. I mean, him and Carrington Valentine are your true outside corners. And Brian Gutekunst has raved about Keyshawn Nixon at outside, but if Jair doesn't come back, you're looking at Keyshawn Nixon and Nate Hobbs starting at outside. That's 2 natural nickel guys. I think they can do it, but it's a risk.
In a division with some of the toughest receivers in the league. So have at it. But so, all right, it's inconclusive. What's the timeline? There's got to be a date. Is it June 1st, July 1st? Like when will we know if Jair's, if number 23 is going to be issued to somebody else?
I think soon. I would say in the next week is my guess. Yeah.
He took part in the virtual part of the
virtual. And then I went through the 154 picture slideshow that Evan Siegel posted from the first day of in-person voluntary workouts, and Jair was not there. So,
and then what his deal, he has incentives to showing up for the off-season program, right?
So I saw something like 700,000. I'm not sure entirely what those numbers are.
I don't know what the parameters are. You could probably miss like this week and still hit your numbers, right? That, because to me, I always, when players make a stand like that and they give up, that much money, which I don't know, maybe it's not a lot to them. It certainly is to us. I'd show up.
Yeah.
I would show up and I'd be unscrewing those little plates that cover the outlets on the walls, and I do whatever they want me to do for 4 hours to get the $700,000 to me. But that's just me.
A couple years ago, Jair didn't show up to the off-season program when he could have earned $700,000 by doing so. And then when the team was out of town, he did show up. So he just kind of different cat. He's a different cat.
Complicated fella. All right, Matt. The thing about this draft, and I saw, that there's gonna be some motivated wide receivers in that room now that they've taken 2 rookies in the first 3 picks for the first time in franchise history. And I know Christian Watson's not in the equation, but his dad and his brother weren't happy with the picks. And there are other positions as well where they've created competition. Offensive line, Rashid, Sean Ryan, those guys who the time may be ticking on their tenures in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a healthy thing? Is this something that the coaches have to address to assuage the veteran guys, the guys coming back? Or is it, hey man, it's the NFL, you got to sing for your supper? Like what's the approach going to be? Goody says he loves competition.
Oh yeah.
And the coaches do as well, especially in camp. And I know you guys do, because they give you something to, when you're standing on the sidelines in 100-degree heat, frying on the asphalt, it gives you something to write your notes about. But what does it do in the rooms, in the position rooms, and in terms of the team and all that stuff that they've been good at, team harmony and unity and all that stuff?
Yeah, look, I think these guys are professionals, so they understand the nature of the business. So they might be a little butthurt about it at first, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, they're going to show up and try and compete. I think. Maybe not. The thing with Romeo Doubs last season, he maybe didn't take so kindly to competition or sharing targets. So competition is not for everybody. But I find it hard to believe that guys who have gotten to this point, guys who have earned a rotation spot on the Packers, are just going to wilt at the first sign of competition when they haven't even proven themselves entirely yet. So at receiver, at offensive line, this is as much about the present as it is the future. I've said it 100 times on this station. They're probably going to lose multiple guys out of Watson, Reed, Dobbs, and Wicks over the next 2 off seasons because they're all entering free agency. And then at offensive line, Rasheed Walker's a solid left tackle. He's going to earn a lot of money next off season. They can get cheaper and younger at that position. And whether that is Belton or whether that is Jordan Morgan they're going to probably go with one of those guys. I was thinking of Belton's first name, Anthony Belton. Belton, Elton, and Melton are all screwing with my name right now.
That's too crazy.
They got too many Eltons.
Too many Eltons. Matt, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Enjoy your downtime. I'm glad you didn't Airbnb your house for the draft. Glad we all survived, and that was fun to cover. And now we're on to mini camps and OTAs and all the other off-season stuff.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it as always.
Mm-hmm. You bet. Matt Schneidman, The Athletic, and the Matt Schneidman Show. We'll be right back. Drew and KB statewide on The Game.
Look at where I ended up. I'm all good already, so moved on. It's scary. I'm not where you left me at all.
Don't miss your shot to win $1,000 in bonus bucks.
Bonus bucks.
Listen every hour, weekdays between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m.
Bonus bucks.
When you hear the nationwide keyword, enter it at our website.
Brought to you locally by ARR Recycling. Recycling pays. Go to ARR with your recyclable copper, brass, lead, steel, or aluminum and get cash. Visit them at ARR1938.com or stop in to the West Dallas or Waukesha location. ARR Recycling since 1938.
Brian Butch from Zabin Butch in the Morning. Sock it to stinky feet with some free Iron Jack socks and take 35% off the best performance apparel on the planet. I would know. I've traveled the world throughout my basketball career, and Iron Jack is hands down my favorite. It's comfortable, fashionable. It has 24/7 odor protection, and it's woven with 4-way stretch, 10% spandex to give you the absolute best feel with the best odor and fabric protection in the industry. And now through May 11th, when you buy $50 or more of Iron Jack performance apparel, use promo code SPRING35 to take 35% off your entire order. That's right. Take 35% off your entire order, and you'll receive free Iron Jack socks as a bonus. That's promo code SPRING35 now through May 11th, which happens to be Mother's Day. Iron Jack makes fantastic women's apparel too. Just saying. So take the Brian Butch Challenge and stock up on your favorite Iron Jack gear now through May 11th. Go to ironjack.com. That's ironjc.com. On behalf of myself and Paul Hansen, happy Mother's Day, Iron Jack Nation.
I can see the breath inside my house. This is how horror movies start.
First, the cold seeps in. Next thing you know, you're spooning your cat for warmth.
I tried it. He bit me.
Jason, come on, man. You need a new furnace. Don't you know that Capital is giving away the furnace when you get a new AC?
Giving as in free?
Yeah, but call Capital before this turns into the horror version of Frozen. Call Capital today and get a free furnace with a new AC.
Fashion service, you can't go wrong. Call CapitalCares.com.
People can't stop screaming about Screamin' Sicilian frozen pizza. And no wonder. There's plenty to scream about, like the buttery stone-fired crust, secret recipe tomato sauce, mounds of whole milk mozzarella, and tons of premium toppings. Find Screamin' Sicilian in your local grocer's frozen aisle and find out for yourself why Sport called Screamin' Sicilian Holy Pepperoni Frozen Pizza the best of the best. Screamin' Sicilian. Taste what all the screaming is about.
At Rocket, we believe everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. So if you're feeling locked out of home ownership, we're here to give you back the keys. We're opening doors, breaking down walls, and doing everything we can to turn renters into owners. And we're not going to stop until we help everyone home. To find out more, visit rocket.com. Rocket, own the dream.
The Peace Lily is so last year. Hey, has anyone worked with fiddlenecks?
Shelby's popular flower shop is in full bloom.
We just got a request for an arrangement that evokes air. Who's up for that challenge? No?
She needs to hire a floral designer to nip foliage faux pas in the bud.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our advanced matching helps find talented candidates so you can connect with them fast. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
The Fox 6 weather experts are presented by AdventKnows.com.
A mix of clouds and sun today and windy with temperatures reaching into the 50s and low 60s. Clearing tonight with cooler lows in the 30s. Sunny on Wednesday with temperatures in the low to mid 50s. Then rain showers return late Wednesday into Thursday. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by Bet Online.
Bet Online is your #1 source for all your sports betting action. With baseball in full swing and in the home stretch for basketball and hockey playoffs, Bet Online has all the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting. Bet Online. The game starts here.
The
flagship for your Green Bay Packers.
Looks to throw, swings it right side. Tucker, grab, touchdown, Green Bay Packers. Oh, my goodness.
97.3 The Game.
Drew and KB bringing it to you from the Iron Jock studio, built by Reamer Remodel. Spring into Mother's Day with Iron Jock. Buy $50 or more of Iron Jock men's and women's performance apparel, the best you're going to find anywhere. And you can take 35% off your entire purchase with the promo code SPRING35. Plus, Iron Jock will include free socks as a bonus. Shipping is free. IronJOC.com. The deal goes now through May 11th. Keyword SPRING35. 35% off. Think about mom on Mother's Day. Oh, boy. Brunch. Presents, the whole thing, Mother's Day coming up. Or as we call it, Stately Olson Manor, Sunday. 877-794-1973. What was the question KB had asked?
Oh,
You
no.
had
What I
one
was
guy
saying
staying
is-
in Milwaukee?
Yeah, no. You have, I think there are three. You know, you've got, if you take a look at the three teams, let's just say the most visible people, Jordan Love, and I'm not going to throw Jordan Love in this, Jackson Churio and Giannis. Right now, let's put Giannis up against Jackson Churio. Keep one.
Whew, man.
You keep one.
Churio's got the more longevity.
And because the Brewers haven't won a title.
Yeah. Churio's.
You got a Giannis title already.
Churio looks special. Like I said last year, think of when you watch Churio, think about early Giannis when he was that skinny kid that would take 2 steps from half court and dunk. And it was like, and the only people geeking out were Bill Simmons and the hardcore people with NBA TV packages.
And Giannis versus Jordan Love. Keep one.
Again, like one guy's already got the title in the bank, right? And it's earning interest. But if you root, I root for stories. The best story is Giannis staying and somehow cobbling together a team around him that can win another title for Giannis in Milwaukee with a new generation of players that's not Brooke and Chris and Pat and Bobby, right? To be there for a second cycle, that cements your status as a absolute all-time legend.
Well, I think he's an all-time legend anyway.
I know, but it even takes it to another layer, another level of it.
Well, Churio bringing a championship to the Brewers is probably your best story of the three.
That's a pretty good story too. But
It used
again,
to suck in Bucks
like
fans.
the
That's
arc.
all I can
We
say.
like the arc. All right, when we come back, we'll play a little buy or sell presented by Urchel Real Estate Group. Don't you go anywhere. Drew and KB, statewide on the game. Where would you go?
.97.3 The Game. This is what's trending in Milwaukee now.
This sports update is brought to you by American Place Casino. Nonstop excitement just over the Wisconsin border in Lake County, Illinois. I'm Dave Gasper. Game 5 of the first-round playoff series between the Bucks and Pacers is tonight, with the Bucks looking to rebound after the loss of Damian Lillard to a torn Achilles and stave off a third straight first-round exit. Early tip-off tonight at 5 p.m. The Milwaukee Brewers return to action against the 7-21 Chicago White Sox. The crew has their ace Freddie Peralta on the mound against old friend Bryce Wilson for the Sox. First pitch is at 6:40 p.m. And the Green Bay Packers officially signed former first-round pick linebacker Isaiah Simmons to a one-year contract. Also, the Packers and Jair Alexander are talking about a possible resolution that could see Alexander back in Green Bay next season. I'm Dave Gasper on Milwaukee's most listened-to sports station, 97.3 The Game.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Left lane remains shut down, 4145 northbound at Watertown Plank with debris cleanup and after an earlier crash. Westbound on 94 out at County Highway C, right shoulder is blocked with an accident. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Robert Half. At Robert Half, they found that 67% of companies want to increase contract talent. That's why their recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI work quickly to find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
The new episode of the Larrabee and Lepay podcast is available to listen to right now. Matt and Wade talk to Kentucky Derby insider Randy Moss from NBC Sports, NBA playoffs with Dave Cole, voice of the Bucks. Plus, the guys recap the Packers' NFL draft and Badgers spring football. Listen to every episode of the Larrabee and Lepay podcast. Available anytime on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Presented by UW Credit Union. Here for every you.
Are you buying or selling? Greg Urchel here from Urchel Real Estate Group, partner of the Drew and KB Show. I've been in the real estate business for over 20 years. I'm a practicing lawyer, so I've seen almost everything there is to see when buying or selling commercial or residential real estate. I've built a trusted team around me to provide our clients with the highest level of service available in this market. We are much more than just a traditional agent. We are Urchel Real Estate Group. Buying or selling? Go to urchelrealestate.com or email me, greg@urchel.com, ERCHULL.com.
I want them gummy squares. I want them gummy squares. I want some sleepy with no more anxiety. I need them gummy squares. I need them gummy squares. I need my wife to find her happy place really soon. We have Delta 8 CBD and new Delta 9s. Go to happyplacehemp.com.
Happyplacehemp.com.
25% off with promo code DrewKB. Happyplacehemp.com.
He's coming. Here he goes.
Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless.
What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
We can be twinsies
to
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Alzheimer's disease is the 6th leading cause of death in the country, and it's affecting almost 7 million Americans, including 110,000 people here in Wisconsin. UW-Madison is working hard to improve the lives of those affected, offering resources to educate and the latest in research and technology. The UW Initiative to End Alzheimer's has so many ways you can benefit, learn, get involved, and make a difference. Visit goalsforacure.org. That's goalsforacure.org.
Broadcasting from the all-new Iron Jock Studios, built by Rima Remodel.
Let's get this going right now.
This is WRNW-FM Milwaukee, 97.3 The Game.
Listen up, the ratings just came in for last month. We are number one. We just grabbed every key demographic. Super, yeah.
Live from the Iron Jock Studios and brought to you by Bryant and Stratton Athletics. It's the fastest growing sports and stuff show in the Midwest, led by two 23rd-year seniors who have no interest in entering the transfer portal. It's Drew and KB.
I've never worked in a studio that had 10 glory holes going all at the same time.
There are two things that separate humans from animals. One, we can control our sexual tendencies. Two, when we eat, we use cutlery.
If I could have everybody's attention, we put together a little song and dance in honor of her.
I'm an executive by day and a wild man by night.
We don't care what KB says.
I am a mostly able-bodied, neurodivergent, obsessive-compulsive, chronically ill cat parent in mental health recovery.
Do you like lizards? Do you like snakes? Do you like tortoises? Do you like frogs?
Jesus is a friend of mine. Jesus is my friend. Jesus is a friend of mine. I have a friend in Jesus.
You're done. You're done. Your mom wears Skechers.
Give me a word, starting with the letter P. Somebody might do to your body.
Say penetrate.
I'm a clam guy. Only eat clams. That's all I do.
What the F?
Do you want to start drinking?
Yes.
You know, I'm going to have to go for 420, Bob.
Cheez-Its! Cheez-Its! Cheez-Its!
Light this candle.
He's right. Let's light this candle. Light the candle.
Rolling through a Tuesday in the Good Land. It's Drew and KB broadcasting live from the Iron Jock studio built by Reamer Remodel. My name is Drew Olson. I am joined in the studio by KB.
What is going on, brother?
Handsome Hunter Baumgart behind the glass, monitoring the NicoletLaw.com talking text line 877-794-1973. Quick homework assignment for you. Time to play a little buy or sell. If you've got something for us, you want to ask us whether we're buying or selling, feel free. Again,
it's on the text line.
877-794-1973. Before you do that, however, you want to go to 973thegame.com and enter this hour's nationwide keyword to put $1,000 in your hand with some bonus bucks. Yeah, baby. Keyword this hour is grand. You put $1,000 in your hand, 973thegame.com, enter the word grand. Do it now, take care of business, and then text us with your question for buying or selling. Buying or selling on the Drew and KB program brought to you by Urchel Real Estate Group, a truly full-service real estate practice. Greg is a great dude, and he and his team are ready to help you with some of those complicated transactions. There are ramifications when you're buying, leasing, developing properties, doing anything in the real estate world. There's stuff. There are landmines that you don't know about, but they do, and they can guide you through them at Urchel Real Estate Group. Check them out, ERCHULL realestate.com is the website. Presenting sponsor. They're located not far from the Megaplex here, their offices, and presenting sponsor of buying or selling on the Drew and KB program. You ready? If you got any, feel free, but are you buying or selling that tonight will be the final game of employment for the Bucks for either Giannis, Doc, or both? Buying or selling. Throwback to our first segment of the program.
Oh, I'm buying one of those two.
You're buying that one of those two.
One of those two will be
gone. Hunter?
Buying Doc, selling Giannis. I do not think this is the last time we see Giannis
No,
in a
yeah,
Bucks uniform.
it's not. The clock is only ticking if Giannis says so, because the Bucks have him
And
for
there's no
2
indication
years.
that he said so.
Yeah, the Bucks have him for 2 more years under contract, and there's a player option for the year beyond that.
Yeah.
So unless he goes and says, and that won't be right away. It'll be after a quiet reflection, maybe a trip to Greece and just unwinding from the long season, a darkness retreat. That could be.
There you go.
Yes. Okay. Are you buying or selling that the Bucks will be competitive tonight? Not saying that they'll win, but that they could maybe cover a 7.5 point spread, according to our friends at Circus
Selling.
Sports. Selling that they won't.
Yeah, they're gonna just turtle.
Hunter,
cover or win?
I said cover. Just be competitive. Have a close game in the fourth quarter.
Not a chance.
There's nothing that gives me any reason to say yes to that. Like there's just look at the 4 games other than the win, but after Dame went out, it was all downhill. They've started slow in every game. I would say I'd have to sell competitive. 15.
Okay. Well, they're not going to pull a Heat. Did you see what happened with the Heat last night? The Heat in an elimination game against the Cavs lost 138-83, and it was nowhere near that close as that score would indicate.
Crazy.
At halftime, it was 72-33?
Yeah, I think so.
72-33, I think it was at halftime. And the great Ernie Johnson, who's going into the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame this year, said, "This might be the worst basketball game I've ever seen." Charles Barkley and Kenny and Shaq were completely making fun of the Heat culture. They're so lauded for their, toughness, tenacity, and all that stuff. But maybe that left with Jimmy Butler. But 138-83 in an elimination game.
I saw someone say that Shams already has the Eric Spoelstra and Miami Heat mutually part ways draft tweet in his drafts, ready to rock and roll when that happens.
Wow. Yeah, that was.
He's been there a long time, and we've seen all these coaches, even if they're great coaches. And then someone said,
all they got to do is win Coach of the Year. They're gone in 3 years. We've seen that.
Yeah. Well, someone said, what if Spoelstra came to Milwaukee?
Hey, now, I think Spo's
I'd be open to
borderline
that.
Hall of Fame coach myself. But if he's available,
then you'd have
he
another
might be
guy
one of the best free agents out there. But there's also Mike Malone's won a championship pretty recently. Of course, that didn't help Bud at all. And then Taylor Jenkins has some roots in Milwaukee, too. There's guys available. I just think that, I don't know. Again, we talked about it in the first hour. I think that either if Giannis comes back, I don't see a future. I don't see a path for Doc. Unless, of course, Giannis says, keep Doc. It's all good. I'm happy with him. That's all right.
Sure.
But yeah, that Heat loss last night. The Heat had a lead in that game for 20 seconds, KB. Score at the end of the first quarter was 43-17.
Okay.
Imagine you're stuck in traffic. You get there late. You sit down. First
And
quarter's
you're
ending,
up by 50.
and it's 43-17. It's like, all right, we're out of here. Cleveland was up by 60 in the fourth quarter. Just absolute
domination.
Crushing. All right, here's one for you. Are you buying or selling that the PGA Tour needs to redo his schedule and go back in time and not have the PGA Championship in mid-May? It's at Quail Hollow starting in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm buying that. I've never liked the PGA. I never liked it when they moved it up. I liked it at the end of the season.
Especially since it kind of negates Wisconsin from hosting one.
Well, yeah, not only
Takes you out
that,
of
but
that
it
mix.
just is, you've got you got the Masters by invite, and then you have the two play-ins, and then you've got the PGA, the pro golfers tournament, and it just seems to be a logical progression for me.
All right.
Because it used to be in August, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I would buy it being in August.
Yeah. I just, they moved it up, and I can't get I don't like it.
They
Screw
moved
the
it
rhythm.
up to keep a major every month.
Yeah. Yep.
And then get you through the first half of the season, and then to clear the deck for the FedEx Cup.
Okay.
Which is in that September-October slate, August, September, October for that run.
Continuing buy or sell presented by Urchel Real Estate Group. Would you buy or sell that if the Brewers, anything less than winning 2 out of 3 against the White Sox is a F grade, a fail, as KB's getting ready to hand out final grades to his students, that anything less than 2 out of 3 is a fail and that you'd hope for a sweep?
Buy.
You're buying?
Yeah.
Anything less than 2 out of 3 is a fail.
Got to take 2 out of 3 in this series. Especially just where they are in the season. It's not necessarily the team they're playing, but they're kind of at a tipping point here a little bit.
It is.
They're teetering,
snowballing a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
And this is the perfect team to stop
dipping
that
below
teeter.
500 is never good.
Right.
But the thing is, there's a hashtag baseball element to it.
There
right?
is.
Like, and on any given day, even the worst team, unless you're the Rockies this year. So you're saying, I'm saying it's easy to say that in baseball, but you can't be surprised if they lose 2 out of 3. Right?
I think if you run a team with a level of fiscal responsibility, you don't end up in those positions.
Like a Rockies position or a White Sox position?
It always happens so let's just transfer that over to the Bucks. Start throwing everything to try and win now, and the next thing you know, you can't do it, and you're looking at despair.
Well, that's part of the reason the Brewers have been so successful and have been so consistent.
And people got pissed. They don't want bites of the apple.
I know.
It's like, go all in.
The Bucks won a title.
The Bucks went all in. They won a title.
They did.
And then they tried to compound and double down with Dame, and it didn't work. But you can't say that
when you
shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, I tell you though, if you make that run at a championship and then you end up like gassing it, like the Sox, you're going to wish you had an apple.
Just to at least,
you're gonna wish you had an apple to nibble on.
Whether it's Granny Smith Cosmic Crisp,
whatever, it doesn't matter.
Apple juice and an apple,
Honey Crisp,
Cosmic Crisp. Yeah.
The Rockies, for the record, are 4-24. They've lost 9 of 10 and 7 in a row.
I think they've lost 15 of 16.
I believe that to be
or like
the
16
case
of
as
17,
well.
something like that.
And remember when we were freaking out because the Brewers' run differential was out of whack? We're not even to May, and the Rockies' run differential is minus 72 after 28 games.
I mean, the Brewers beat them 17-4.
That's some kind of awful. All right, buying or selling? Are you buying, selling? Apparently today is National Shrimp Scampi Day. Are you buying or selling that shrimp in pasta is better than any other form of shrimp?
Ooh. I think I'll buy that.
I think I will too. I think I
like a shrimp, shrimp in the shrimp cocktail. That's pretty good.
Shrimp cocktail is pretty good, and as an appetizer, but there's something about it.
It is
warm, spiced.
Yeah, I'm buying
in pasta. KB, where are you at? I mean, you like the fried shrimp as an accoutrement?
You know what? I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of no, I like shrimp, but I'm not a big fan of seafood and pasta. I'm not a big,
I think it's fantastic.
Well, good.
I think it's
I'm not,
fantastic.
I will eat it, but I probably will not order it.
Oh man, you've not had the lobster mac and cheese from Egg and Flour?
Oh, don't even get me on
Pavlak?
mac and cheese. You do not. For me, you don't put anything in mac and cheese. It's mac and cheese. It's not brisket mac and cheese. It's not lobster mac and cheese. I want mac and I want cheese.
Mac and cheese.
And that's it. That's the way I roll.
All right.
But that's fine. If that's what I want, that's what I want.
Are you buying or selling the fact that if the Timberwolves can eliminate the Lakers, and I think that game is tomorrow night, Timberwolves lead 3-1 in the series, that whomever the Timberwolves' biggest fan is, might be Alex Rodriguez, whoever their David Gruber is, or Jim Kazmarek, whoever their David Margolis, whoever their number one fan is, will have to take a back seat to Dallas general manager Nico Harrison, who will probably get a Timberwolves tattoo if they eliminate the Lakers in this first round of the NBA playoffs.
You're right. Bye.
He is the biggest fan right now in the world of the Wolves.
He is.
Rooting for them. I have no doubt.
Yep.
All right, then here's one for you. And this is I've done research on this. I commissioned a university study.
Research?
Or I actually just texted my buddy Jim Suhan. But you've got the Minnesota Wild in a position to pull an upset against the Vegas Knights. And I mean, you've got the Timberwolves about ready to beat the Lakers. If you look at our neighbors to the north who've been starved for sports success, would you think that people in Minnesota would be more excited with a Stanley Cup parade or an NBA championship parade? If they could only have one, because God forbid they get both. They're going to be insufferable. And
you have insight on this? Do you have an answer?
I just texted Jim Suhan.
Okay.
But what do you think? If you had to guess, which would move the needle more in the Minneapolis market? A Stanley Cup for the Wild, who are still, that's a relatively new franchise. How many years has the Wild been around?
That's been around 20 plus.
Yeah, Craig Leopold,
I feel like
right?
my whole lifetime.
Well, yeah. Leopold had the Preds, and then he sold the Preds and,
then
bought the Wild.
Bought the Wild, and then they replaced the North Star, so they're a second franchise, kind of the way the Brewers followed the Braves after their exit.
Mm-hmm. Founded, 1997. So
97. All right, so they're
30
up
years.
So Hunter's age, and then the T-Wolves. Which do you think would move the needle more in that market?
Boy, I couldn't tell you, but I mean, I'm not exactly sure, but I would say this is that Minnesota's a hockey state before it is a basketball state. So, I think my gut is saying that the hockey one would.
According to my pal Jim Suhan, columnist from the Star Tribune and all-around great dude, he said more fans care about the Wolves, but hockey fans are more nuts.
True.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
So that's back in the day. They used to say that about the Blackhawks in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
There are 18,000 hockey fans in Chicago, and they all go to every game.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that
It's
no
just
one
right.
else
It's
cared.
The popularity is more there probably for the Timberwolves. However,
I mean, but Minnesota is different.
But-
Minnesota sells out the XL Center for high school hockey.
Exactly.
That's true. But does that translate to
profession.
NHL, yeah, that's a niche thing, and that's a tradition thing.
Well, and it's also probably something that has to do with, the cost too. You're not going to as many. You're not going to be going to as many NHL games as
Well, yeah, Minneapolis is one of those check all the box markets. They got every team.
Yeah,
right, and it's and I find it fascinating. They're both having playoff success, but that Timberwolves team seems like ready for liftoff. And Anthony Richardson's becoming the face of the league a little
Edwards,
bit.
yeah.
Anthony Edwards, yeah. Anthony Edwards. Anthony Richardson. That's the quarterback who's supposed to be a Hall of Famer after his draft pick, right?
How's that working out?
All right, 877-794-1973. You got any for buy or sell for us?
I've got one for you.
Lay it on me.
Kentucky Derby parties that aren't at the Kentucky Derby, buying or selling.
Buying. I like bourbon, and people like putting on funny hats as a rite of spring. It's like a month after opening day, you get another reason to go out and go on a heater.
Okay.
I don't own a seersucker suit, and I always work on Saturdays and stuff, so I never really get to go to derby parties. But I'm not against them, like I said, because I like bourbon, and people want to wear funny hats and sundresses.
Okay.
Ding.
Buying or selling, the WIAA approving NIL money for high school kids.
Buying. They had to. It's 35 other states. Otherwise, they were going to get lawsuits.
This
Like
is the problem.
They were going to be sued if they didn't.
Here's the problem that I have with it. If you go back to NIL, and the reason it's there, it is because, we heard the coaches scream that, my players cannot even take their girlfriend out for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
They can't make any money. Okay, hear me out on that. Can't make any money. Okay, so let's give them $4.2 million. All right, that's fine. High school, you know what? They can have jobs. A high school kid can get a job. A high school kid can make money. A high school kid can go out and take his girlfriend out. A high school kid doesn't need $700,000, and it will only exacerbate the situation and make it worse, because you're going to have high school kids with way too much money. And if you think they're entitled now, wait, with the AAU stuff, wait until you start throwing money at them.
Again,
where does the money go?
Again, it's always been there, because the shoe company, especially in basketball, more than anything, the shoe companies were funneling money to guys, and they were grooming them and betting on the come with the camps and all that stuff. They were, they talked to Butchie about it. There's a lot of shady stuff going on especially with the shoe companies back in the day. And it's not like, I don't think Catholic Memorial is going to be paying somebody $20,000 to come and play, right? Like the scholarship schools and the private schools have always had an element of recruiting, and they'd waive tuition and stuff. But I don't see them.
That's
not
entirely true.
I don't see them paying guys to come. Oh yeah, they've been doing it. They recruited for years.
Okay, so what is it? High schools are going to pay kids?
No, you're saying NIL in high school. Where's the money coming from?
Well, that's what
Arrowhead's
saying.
not going to pay kids per se to go there and play.
No, they're not.
So it's going to come from
people are going to pay money.
Shoe companies or whomever. Like if there's a Hickory High wants to give Jimmy Chitwood, if some restaurant Hickory wants to put Jimmy Chitwood on their menu and
you want to know
free
something?
burgers, like they're going to go ahead and do it.
They can now.
They can? Well, now it's codified, right?
Well, they can. There was never a reason to codify it, because it wasn't illegal.
I don't know. Was it? I don't know.
No,
I don't know
you
what
can't.
The legalities were.
A school can't pay them, but you could go out and get a job.
Oh yeah,
you could go out if you wanted. If a car dealer wanted to pay a kid in high school to come down, for an afternoon and sit there and sign autographs, hell yeah, you could do it. There was nothing wrong with that.
I don't know if that was always legal. I mean, there might have been laws against it at the state level.
So then what does this new rule do?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, here we go.
What does it
I knew this was coming. When can high school get jobs? At school, way more hours than college kids. Okay, so high school kids.
420.
Damn near every high school kid that I went to school with had a job. My son had jobs.
Your son had jobs, yeah.
In the summer.
So did my kid.
Yeah.
They weren't elite athletes, so I wish if they'd have gotten paid to go on the camp circuit and be counselors or something, that'd be cool. That'd have been dope. All right, at 420, we pause. We pause, buy or sell, presented by Urchel Real Estate Group, and we say, it's 420. What are you, high?
Are you high? You're huffing grass?
Yes, indeed. This is brought to us by friends at HappyPlaceHemp.com. Check them out. Rob and Chris, based in Muskego, making the best CBD products we'll find anywhere. You can buy them all with the code Drew and KB and get 25% off. in the store in Muskego or in person or online at happyplacehemp.com. Drew and KB, every day they get customers using the code. You should be one of them. 25% off at happyplacehemp.com with the code Drew and KB. KB, what's the story?
Okay. Here, this is a 420 story, and there's a 420 element to it. A study, and you know how much I love studies.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go. We have another study, and it was published in the Journal of Psychiatric Research that researchers set out to investigate whether cannabis use was associated with binge eating behaviors and whether this connection was influenced by the cannabis. Guess what they found out? Yes, it is. The cannabis use is associated with binge eating. They had to study 1,568 emerging adults at the average age of 22 to participate in the study, and they found that, yes, when people get high, they tend to binge eat. Really? It's called the munchies, and everybody knows that. Everybody on the planet knows that. The entire convenience store industry was built on that. If it wasn't for people getting high, you wouldn't have Funyuns.
There are some people who don't get high that enjoy Funyuns.
Well, there may be, but what I'm saying is that when I saw this, I'm like, whoa, cannabis use linked to binge eating? Shut up, get out of here. No way. So for the people that felt they had to do a study about this instead of just going to a dorm and asking people, you had to go through a whole study. All I can say is, what, are you high?
Are you high? You're huffing grass?
The obvious answer is no, because if you were, you would know that.
One would think, yeah.
That one is amazing.
Check out happyplacehemp.com. The Drift Seltzer available at Amon's new location in Delavan, as well as McWanago and Wind Lake. Albrecht Century in Delafield. Love our fans in Lake Country. Muskego Beer, Wine, and Liquor. Ray's Wine and Spirits. And Discount Liquor, among other spots to find the Drift Seltzer from happyplacehemp.com. We are, unless you guys have anything else to throw out for buying or selling, I think we're tapping out. Urchel Real Estate Group is the presenting sponsor. Again, check out Greg and his team. Whatever you're doing in the real estate front, it's good to have experienced people who have been brokers and have a lawyer on your team in your corner. Whether you're buying an investment property, even something as simple as like buying a duplex, there are ramifications and things like that. If you're leasing a commercial space, if you have a plot of land you inherited and you want to develop it, these are the guys that can help you. Whether you own it, whether it's for personal use or for business, contact Urchel Real Estate Group if you're buying or selling, which is why we call the segment Buying or Selling with Urchel Real Estate.
And if our
Group.
smart and good-looking listeners have anything they want to ask us if we're buying or selling, hit us on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line.
That would be 877-794-1973. Yeah, I don't know what the bylaws were in the WIAA. They probably did ban it. They probably did say that athletes couldn't do it. I mean, you could get a job, but not related to I don't think you could get paid to wear a certain shoe brand.
Okay.
To play in.
Maybe not.
With all the draconian things that they had about, how often you can go in the weight room and how often you can play 7-on-7 and all that.
Right. But here's what I was saying is that the whole argument behind NIL money, where the coaches used to throw that at you going, my guy, they can't get any money.
I don't know that was the whole argument.
Well, it's not the whole. No, the NIL thing was obviously schools are making tons of money off of these guys.
Of course. And
how many high schools are making tons of money off of the kid that comes in?
The fact that schools could sell jerseys with players' names or T-shirts with their likeness and the players didn't get a cut, or that you could sell video games with players depicted in the video games and they didn't get a cut, or that anybody in the country, anybody in the world could sell an autograph, could get an autograph and then sell it, except for the person who signed the autograph got no money out of it. That's where the NIL.
All right. Well,
from.
No, but what I'm saying is that if you were a high school kid and you signed autographs and someone wanted to pay you, it would be your job and you wouldn't be in trouble. Number two, high schools aren't getting rich off of the backs of these kids.
No.
Okay. So that there's another argument for NIL in high school that it's not congruent with NIL in college.
It's, again, they passed it, but you can get worked up about it, but
I'm just saying.
How many Bronny Jameses are there in Wisconsin?
I'm just saying
getting big deals.
But I'm saying there was no need for it because you could
yes,
already
there
do
was because it was preemptive. Because if 35 other states have it, and if some kid gets, but they must have had rules against it. They must have had rules against it.
Then move.
A lot of people do. They go to the
fine. So fine.
IMG
so kid,
Academy.
Okay, good for them.
Why should they move if they don't have
why
to?
not?
And
Who cares? It's a high school kid.
But again, like
in 2 years, who cares?
Why be worried about it?
Because
why do you care?
It's just stupid. Okay.
Well, maybe it was stupid not to have it.
Okay. How do you figure?
Because
what high school kid is hurting because they don't have money? What high school?
There's probably a few. I could probably come up with some
what
cases.
high school kid? I mean, what kid is who's making money off of the backs of these kids that someone needs to pay them?
Who's making money?
Yeah.
Off of them? Well,
in high school, that they need to have that much money in high school.
Why aren't dude, come on. You've been to a city conference school? I mean,
no, then
subsistence alone would tell you that those.
Okay.
And if they were prevented from making money in any way,
they're not.
But I think they were.
No,
I don't think
they're
they
not.
Could
a kid can have a job.
I don't think they
and
could.
You know what?
Because it was,
No, a kid can have a job.
Because here's the thing. The high school rules for years, high school associations followed the NCAA, which banned all that stuff, right? And now the NCAA is saying it's okay. So high school had to say, well, okay, I guess we're following.
Why did high school have to say okay? They didn't.
Well, then why did they follow the bans?
Okay. Why did high schools
You're talking out of your ass. You don't know. We're not lawyers.
No.
You're talking out of your ass.
Okay. Someone show me that the high school kids couldn't make money.
Okay.
And don't argue by saying, well, they spend too much time. It's a lot of time. It takes up a lot of time. I don't want to hear that argument.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Because that's ridiculous. It's not a question of how much time
we'll
does it take up.
It's
a question of
about
can they do it or
stuff. Yeah.
Well, that's
the shady stuff that was happening with Adidas back in the 80s, 90s, 2000s.
I'm not talking about shady stuff. Shady stuff is always going to happen. I'm saying now.
Oh, so then it's okay. We'll keep it shady.
I didn't say it was okay. I'm saying there's no reason to do it. If you think there's a problem with entitled people and entitled kids now in college and every time they're transferring, okay, just start paying them in high school and watch what a train wreck it's going to become.
There are probably there's probably about 10, 20 high school kids that have NIL deals.
And and they go to those IMG academies anyway. So what's the big deal?
Again, what's the big deal with allowing it? If it's now 35 states, it'll soon be 50. Who cares?
I'm saying, why do you need it?
877.
I'm just saying, why do you need it?
794-1973.
Show me why it's necessary. That's what I want to know. Why do you need it?
Is it necessary for college? Is it necessary for college?
I always said that you should do that. I was in agreement with you that college students get paid. What they did is they went totally rogue on the thing.
Yeah, they didn't go rogue. They tried to keep all the money.
Well, no. And then they went from no money to just like open the whole world up. And it's
exactly.
So who gets screwed with that? Every other kid on the other teams that now you got to suck money out of the athletic department so you can cover the big money sports. Okay. And eventually at some point, these other smaller sports are going to disappear.
I bet the under on that.
Okay.
When we come back, Shanna Quinn is going to grace us with her presence from the country station down the hall. Find out what kind of time she had walking around the NFL draft last weekend in Green Bay. It's Drew and KB statewide on the game.
Join us at Bam Field for Brewers and Cardinals in one epic pregame tailgate. Friday night, June 13th. Get a game ticket and the fully stocked tailgate for just $45. Brewapalooza is presented by Potawatomi Sportsbook. Get your tickets now at 973thegame.com/Brewers.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
At the Hale Interchange, you got a crash partially blocking the northbound Rock Freeway ramp to northbound 894. Then over near the Mitchell Interchange, 4194 northbound to 894 westbound has a crash off to the right. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about fun Mother's Day gifts, all for under $15? Get low prices every day on unique finds before they're gone. In-store only at Macy's Backstage today. Find a location near you at macy'sbackstage.com. Off price, on trend, arriving daily. This report is sponsored by Macy's Backstage.
Drew and KB here with our buddies, Rob and Chris from happyplacehemp.com. let's talk a little bit, and this comes up a lot with Delta 9 THC products. Wisconsin isn't a legal state at this point, but your products are indeed legal. Where is that line?
So Wisconsin falls under the federal law, which is 0.3% Delta 9 THC per product. So all of our products are derived from hemp and have a concentration of 0.3% on a dry weight basis, so it's legal. So a gummy, which is heavier, I can put a lot more in there, and you can still get the same effects. And especially with my new seltzer, I can put a lot more in there, and you can feel the effects, and it stays way below the legal threshold.
Let's talk about the new store hours. You guys realized that your customers were having a hard time getting to you before 5 o'clock, so you're helping them out.
Yeah, that's been the case for coming up on 5 years now. We're open Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 9 to 7, and Saturday, 10 to 2.
Thanks, guys. Remember, quick and easy ordering at happyplacehemp.com. Promo code Drew and KB for 25% off your order every time.
Message marked urgent. We're here for you now on the NicolayLaw.com talk and text line at 1-877-794-1973.
Bryant and Trent College's Wauwatosa campus now offers 20 intercollegiate athletic programs. Competing at the NJCAA Division II level gives Bryant and Trent College the opportunity to offer scholarships to student athletes. Learn more about Bryant and Trent College and Bobcats athletics at bscbobcats.com.
Tired of feeling like you're in a fishbowl every time you hit the road? It's time to tint your windows. Tinting your windows will not only block harmful UV rays, but also reduces glare and keeps your car cooler on those scorching summer days. We offer a lifetime warranty on film and installation. Charisma offers a color-stable film that makes your vehicle look great, and a ceramic film that blocks 99% of UV rays and 85% of sun's heat. Ceramic window film is the best you can get and keeps you cool in blistering summer heat. 262-444-2525. CharismaCustoms.com.
They say seeing is believing. And when you check out what's waiting for you at American Place Casino, you'll definitely believe you'll love it. From thrilling gaming to top-notch service, we're changing the game. Come play all your favorites like blackjack, craps, roulette, and the latest slots. Catch a game at the sportsbook, enjoy great restaurants, bars, and more. If you're ready for excitement, exceptional service, and an experience you'll never forget, then we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game. Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling, or referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ORDER to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text ORDER to 42424. That's ORDER to 42424.
News has never been so important.
We've got breaking news from Capitol Hill.
And iHeart makes it so easy to stay in the know with 24/7 news on iHeartRadio.
A major breakthrough in medical research.
Live around the clock, so you're never more than 3 minutes away from the stories that matter most.
Extreme weather is impacting millions.
24/7 news, right at your fingertips with the free iHeart app, where you can now make 24/7 news a preset for even quicker access. 24/7 news on iHeartRadio. Broadcasting live from the all-new Iron Jock Studios, built by Reamer Remodel. This is Drew and KB.
Do me a favor, all right? Don't be too critical.
On the game.
A Tuesday in the good land. It is Drew and KB from the Iron Jock Studio. Happy to be joined by our pal Shanna Quinn from the country station down the hall.
Hello, fellers. How's everyone doing today?
We're back at it.
Yeah?
We're back. We're another day. We'll have shaken off the draft hangover.
Oh, I'm sure.
Reduced sleep and all this stuff. And living in a dorm with a gross flop house with a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
Which was fun and gross at the same time.
I'm sure. I was talking to Doug earlier about his schedule with everything because, we went to the draft on Friday. So we listened to WNFL, listened to you guys, of course. And then we listened to Doug later on. And I was like, oh my gosh, is Doug still working?
Oh, those guys were going deep into the night. And then for the weekdays, we're all in this house with thin walls, and Zabe and Butch are firing up at 6 o'clock from the living room. And it was like having a clock radio that you couldn't turn off.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Like, oh my God. I was smacking the nightstand.
Sibilance.
It's so funny because this is literally the first words that KB has said since I walked into this studio. And of course, it's to pick on Zabe.
Of course.
Obviously.
So, all right, tell us about your experience going up there.
You did not even say hello. This is the funny thing. Behind the scenes, KB, you walk in. Hey guys, how's it going? KB, silence. And then Drew and I and Hunter will just chat. And I'm like, all right, cool.
God.
KB, welcome.
I don't need this.
Welcome to me.
Hello, Shanna. How are you doing?
Oh my God, that's so nice.
Oh my
Clint, how
God.
are you?
I'm wonderful.
Yeah.
I was until I started getting ridiculed
How-
for something.
I was doing great until I got ignored when I walked in the room, but that's fine. That's fine.
Sometimes people are preoccupied with something else.
Oh,
Shanna,
every time.
how was your draft experience?
Not every
It was
time.
really good.
Tell us.
We enjoyed it. There was so much to do. I have to say, I think that they did such an incredible job down there. There was something for everyone to do. The food, in my opinion, wasn't very expensive either. Like I got like a whole thing of like pot stickers for like $11, which anywhere else would be.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it was
like,
really, really
compared
good.
to State Fair, Summerfest, and
Yes.
It would
outdoor.
be like $1 at
The,
the Moose Lodge.
We passed by the Moose Lodge and I thought of you.
We were probably in there.
It looked pretty not busy, but
Which is awesome.
Yeah, there wasn't
That's
really.
what we like.
That's what we like
Actually,
about
it was
it.
for Moose Lodge standards on a non-game day. It was kind of
It
crowded.
was kind of crowded, but we got bar seats.
Oh yeah, there were like
At the bar.
there was no sign of life when we walked past because I was
Oh.
like, it doesn't look like anyone's in there.
Now, was
But I
that
said, that's what
Friday you
KB
were up
loves
there?
it. Yes,
And that was the rainy, awful day.
So
Like, the
it was-
afternoon was the morning and afternoon were rainy and awful.
yeah. When we got down there, it was probably like
Cold.
we went to Stadium View for a little bit, like had a couple days. The TVs. So
They fired up after, like before and after they were
yeah,
rocking.
I was very disappointed because like it's kind of like Go Pack Go here. You see someone and Go Bills is like, hello. I said, go Bills to them. And only 2 people said it back. And the others just kind of like waved. And I'm like, okay, so you have a job. Electric in his outfit. He was walking around. It was like a full on Fred Flintstone get up with like the buffalo, hat kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The water buffalo hat, whatever it was, but it was all red and blue. And he was
That's
with,
pretty cool.
it was awesome. And he was with, I'm assuming like his wife, girlfriend, whoever, and she was a big Packer fan. And I looked at the dude and I was like, oh my God, it's like flipped roles. But he started, so I think we've talked about this. The Bills shout song is like the big song, like, hey, go, let's go, Buffalo. And he did that. He was like, hey. I was like, thank God. A real one.
A real one.
Thank God. Yeah. So
See, you can detect the posers.
it was really, really fun though. We had a blast.
Go Bills is the aloha of
Yes.
Western New York. You say it coming and going.
Mhm.
Just go Bills.
You're at the grocery
Bills.
store, you're like scooting by someone instead of like, you're like, go Bills. So yeah. And then we were kind of talking about this off air. This is going completely viral. My old station, which you guys have talked to Sal before. Sal Capaccio.
Yeah, he's good.
Love Sal. He's awesome. It's
Very
the,
good dude.
it's the station that he works for has gone like viral. The morning show just got chewed out by general manager Brandon Bean, just being like, you complain about everything. You complained when I drafted Josh Allen. Now you're complaining that we didn't draft a wide receiver, which in their defense, I also complained about. Like, I get it. We have to rebuild the defense. The defense kind of stank this past year, but not to get a wide receiver when you've lost Amari Cooper, you've lost Matt Collins, like Shakir
Diggs.
can't do well, Diggs 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So you thought that they rebuilt last year. And Shakir can't do everything himself. They got a tight end, which I was like, you already have 2 great tight ends in Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. So I was just very confused by it. I like the picks, but I don't understand how a receiver wasn't in the talks.
I get all that, but like All he has to do is look at the stats. We led the league in points last year.
And-
we know what we're doing.
Well, and that was
It's like,
his
that's-
excuse, right? But at the same time, how many of those points were thanks to Josh Allen? Like, he can't just carry the team on his back forever. So that's why I'm like, let's get him a little bit of help here. So that was my argument. But I think that maybe it was just a bad morning for Mr. Bean. And he just went off and it was
He
wild.
went nuclear.
Yeah, it was nuts. So poor, and I know Jeremy that's with that morning show. I've known him for a long time. I worked there and he's a very nice person. So I was like, oh, yikes. This is not a great look for you, bud. But, that's show business, baby.
It is
showbiz.
Yeah,
you gotta take the slings and arrows.
So did you see a lot of other fan bases? We were trying to ballpark it as you walked around. 85%, 87, 90% Packers gear and the rest
totally agree.
drizzled around. I had a buddy of mine ask me if do you think some teams they fly fans in so every team was represented, because one of our listeners came to Buffalo Wild Wings and said he was trying to get a selfie with a fan from every team.
Yes.
And in the first 4 hours he had 25 of them in.
And I think they move the people around that are on the stage too, so they're up front to get camera shots when their team is drafting.
Like they almost do, like they shuffle them around.
Yeah, because I got
sure.
you know what,
Maybe.
I got a kick out of that because. Well,
Yeah.
no, it was because they show a shot, and I can't remember exactly who it was, but it was what team it was. But let's just say they show a team, and there's a wide demographic range of people there that are fans.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there could be a woman who's in her mid-60s.
They're my favorite. They're so cute. Just decked out.
Right. But
Yeah.
what happens is they go and the such and such around, they choose such and such, so-and-so offensive guard from this. And then they've got the camera shot and the old woman is like, yeah, like she knows
it's like
who this guard is that
Yeah.
they just drafted.
It's like fourth round pick. You're like, honey, no one knows.
No one
who
knows.
This
You
is
don't
at
even
this
know who
point.
this is. You
Yeah.
know,
Other
you
than
know
the
4
kid's
names.
family.
Right. You know 4 names. Why are you getting, Nana, why are you getting all worked up about this? You don't even know where you are.
Nana Joe is real
Right.
jazzed about it. I have to say too, and listen, I am not equating it, so I don't need your angry texts or anything like that. The videos of these players getting the calls and being told like you're being drafted, like we're drafting you, blah, blah, blah. It chokes me up like when you see the surprise military videos. You know what I mean? Like the give me all the feels, all the chills. I was addicted to watching all of those videos as they were coming out. I'm like, this is wonderful. Like this is the best moment of these kids' lives. Like the one guy was like begging. I can't remember who it was. Oh, he was the Ohio State quarterback, and he got drafted by the Steelers, and he was like, please pick me, please pick me, please pick me.
Will
And
Howard.
Yeah, he manifested
thank you.
it.
Yes, I thought that was such a cool moment. I cried like over all the videos. I thought they were awesome.
That was and that's the thing, being there in person, you didn't see like it's a different
True.
event on TV than
Yeah.
it is in person. A lot of sporting events are like that. Hell, an NFL game, you realize how much downtime there is that you don't notice when you're home watching on TV.
For sure. Like there was the player, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. The Bills actually got him, and he has alopecia. He does really great things for kids with alopecia. And like, I didn't see that. I guess there was a whole video about that one of our coworkers texted me about. So I watched it later on, because you're right. You don't get to see all that
Did
there.
you cry?
Of course I cried.
Of course you did.
I cry over everything. I got to see Rich Eisen. I cried there. No, I didn't actually cry,
No,
but I got
I-
real jazzed about it.
I don't know, man. It's a different time, different era, but like to see Adam Schefter and people lined up to get Adam Schefter's autograph.
I don't know. It's kind of cool. I mean, well, yeah, look at like you guys. Like I've talked about it. Shout out Harley, who we saw at the draft, that loves you guys so much. Like these people look up to you guys. They look to you for information. They
Our
look,
autograph is beyond worthless unless it's on a check, and even those would probably be bounced. So
but
what's
people
the
are
difference?
excited. I think that's great. It shows that you're doing something right, whether they love you or they hate you. You're doing
When's the
something
last time
right.
you signed an autograph?
No
I
one
actually know when I did last.
no one asked for
My buddy Tom Haudecourt had threw out the first pitch, and he had all of us buddies in the press box sign the ball that he threw out the first pitch. So I signed the ball.
cool though. That's
So
fun.
it's in his office. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's
All right,
cute.
Shanna's getting ready for international travel on a scale of 1 to 10. What are you at? Like 100?
Oh, I'm so ready. And I have sent out so many emails. I have to send you guys an email still, but I've sent out so many emails giving everyone enough heads up that I'm going to be out of the office. So, but I know that someone's going to try to call me to do stuff while I'm working, even though my out of office will pop up. So like that part, I'm so excited to just leave behind because I won't have service. You can call, you can text, you can send a carrier pigeon. I'm not going to reply. So I'm really jazzed about it.
Who's watching Freddie?
Doggy daycare.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's going to spend the time in doggy daycare. He loves it there. They love him. So, yeah, that's where he's going to be at.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they do boarding. They do everything. He's going to he's going to be living his best life. He's going to go
pampered.
he's going to go to actual daycare with all of his buddies, and then he's going to meet some new friends. He's going to get a bath. He's going to get his nails done, a little mani-pedi action. This dog is spoiled, so he is going to be just fine. Is mom going to be okay? Probably not. I'll probably cry more because that's what I do.
That's probably
I just get emo. Always.
All right. So when do you leave? When are you leaving the country?
This weekend.
All right.
Very excited about
So
it.
do you need places to go?
I have a good list, but you can always send me a list.
Okay. Well, maybe you
Excellent.
should show me the list and I can look at the list.
It's on my Instagram. It's saved in a whole file. So just send me yours.
All right. Shanna, safe travels.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you Thursday. You're with us Thursday?
Thursday I will be here.
And then you're done
Yes,
for a while. Okay.
for a little
All right.
bit,
Out of
yeah.
pocket.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
Real jazzed.
And you did not, for the record, attend the Brad Paisley show.
I did not know.
Nor did I.
No, I heard it was great though. I heard a lot of people stuck around.
Great day. Evening. It was wonderful. I would have liked to, but I just had enough. I needed to get home.
I know. It's
I
what
needed
Doug
to see
said.
my dog.
Yeah, that's what Doug said too. I'm like, did you stick around? He was like, I was so spent. I'm like, I get
First
it. You guys
thing
must have been
smoking.
so worn. Yeah.
We were dragging.
Yeah.
The combination of long hours, bad sleep, and bad diet, it'll take a toll after
Yeah,
a week.
for sure.
Shanna, thanks.
Thank you.
Getting close to opening the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge. Don't you go anywhere. Drew and KB statewide on the game.
KB here. Who doesn't love pizza? I mean, I do. I like to visit my favorite pizza places, but sometimes my craving hits and I don't have time to go out and eat. So I go to my freezer, pull out a Pep's Draft House pizza, because Pep's Draft House pizza isn't one of those just toss a pizza in the oven pizzas. It's made right here in Wisconsin with tons of toppings and real Wisconsin cheese. No one is crushing one of these. Don't believe me? Try one today and make your house a Draft House with Pep's Pizza.
This is 11-year NBA veteran Katina Mobley. This is what's trending from iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Thrivent.
The Bucks play a winner-go-home Game 5 in their playoff series against the Pacers tonight. Damian Lillard out for Milwaukee with that torn Achilles. ESPN reports the Packers and quarterback Jair Alexander are in talks toward a resolution of their situation, but could still work out a trade later in the summer. The first trailer for A24's The Smashing Machine is out. The film stars Dwayne Johnson as two-time UFC heavyweight champ Mark Kerr. I'm Frank Garrity.
At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than money. It's a way to support the people, causes, and community you love. Because the most important thing isn't what you're planning for, it's who. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
I gave it a shot. I came in and had the procedure done. To me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago.
What's up? It's Russell Nicolay with Nicolay Law. You're listening to 97.3 The Game, the #1 sports talk station in Milwaukee. For award-winning injury lawyers, when you're injured, you call Nicolay Law or visit us at nicolaylaw.com. Get the beard, get the win.
Hey, want to make your next meal a little less ordinary? Well, head to Quick Trip. Hey, we are so back serving up our legendary No Ordinary Chicken. Yeah, your dinner is hand-breaded, fried to perfection, and ready for you to enjoy. Try our juicy chicken tenders or boneless wings, perfect for dipping in your favorite sauces. Plus, they're easy to grab on the go or pair with your favorite sides and beverages. Or try our crispy chicken sandwich, full of flavor and perfect for a quick bite. But hey, maybe you're feeding the whole crew. Well, you'll want the 8-piece fried chicken meal. Hey, pick up chicken that's never ordinary, ready to eat for tonight's dinner. Or you can buy it cold, sealed fresh for tomorrow's lunch. You know, we love to make life easier for you. This isn't just any chicken. It's Quick Trip's No Ordinary Chicken, the legend on your plate and flavor that rules the roost. Stop in your local Quick Trip today and taste the difference.
Chilton Windows, Doors, and more. We've got what you're looking for. Chilton Windows, Doors, and more. We've got what you're looking for. Come on over, you'll agree, when you want the best, we're the one to see.
KB here with Javier Cardona from Tilton Windows, Doors, and More. I got to tell you, Javier, we've been working together for more than 6 years, and I got a surprise for you.
What's that, KB?
Well, with all the wind we've had this winter and spring, I've lost gutters, patio lights, and now my front porch storm door. So I guess I'm moving on to the doors part of Tilton Windows, Doors, and More. You got me on this, right?
We do, KB. We do doors, we do storm doors, we do security doors. Along with siding, we'll do your soffit, your fascia, and your gutters.
Well, there you have it, folks. Just go to utilton.com and click on the orange button to get started. That's the letter U, Tilton.com.
Tilton Windows, Doors, and More. We've got what you're looking for.
At Tilton Windows, Doors, and More, they've got what you're looking for.
Cinco de Mayo is near, and the celebration starts at Total Wine & More, your cocktail central. Whether you're shaking up fresh margaritas, sipping on a crisp cerveza, or savoring a smooth tequila, Total Wine is your fiesta celebration destination. So stop by your local Total Wine & More and make this Cinco de Mayo the best one yet. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
It's me, Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. I see those dry elbows, baby. But don't worry, get moisturized right in the shower. So hydrated you can skip the lotion after.
Don't wanna see it dry no more. Skin so moisturized with body wash.
Look at you now, no more dry skin. Your skin gets the moisture it craves with
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
At Potawatomi, where ways to win are endless, another chance to capture epic cash and prizes comes Friday, June 27th. It's the season finale blockbuster drawings. Watch your entries from enchanted spins, unreal treasures, and boundless bounty come together for drawings where $300,000 in cash and prizes is there for the taking. Be there to win your share. June 27th only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info online. Must be 21 years old to play.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Zabe and Butch in the morning.
Hey, join us Wednesday. Are the Bucks still alive, or shall we begin the long off season? We'll talk about it starting at 6. See you then.
Zabe and Butch, weekday mornings after 6 on The Game.
Drew and KB bringing it to you. About to have some fun in the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge. For fun, we like to hang out at American Place Casino. The Canoe Bar Domestic Beer Special is a thing. Happy hour during the Drew and KB program from 3 to 6 on Monday through Thursday. And Sunday, too. 3 to 6, $2 domestic beers. Enjoy your favorites. Miller Lite, Coors Light. If you're into working out, Michelob Ultra. People feel healthy when they drink a Michelob Ultra. I think that's ridiculous. Oh, I'm having an Ultra.
It's only like 5 calories less than a Miller Lite.
That's what I'm saying.
I think.
That's what I'm saying. And keep your eye out for comedy at American Place. They got 3 shows in May. Patrick Warburton, you know who he is? Putty.
He's Putty.
Jay Moore and Brad Upton are going to be there. So check out AmericanPlace.com for more information on our favorite place south of the border.
Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537.
As we roll forward, we'll tell you about all the great spirits crafted together by our friends at Central Standard. We'll tell you about the deliciousness of Pep's Pizza. Hunter's going to take us on a tour of another dive bar somewhere in the state, and we will catch up with our pal, Matt Lepay, the voice of the Badgers. And it's the last time we'll talk to Matt for a while because the Northwoods are calling. He needs some time off away from all media obligations. Drew and KB statewide on The Game.
.97.3 The Game. This is what's trending in Milwaukee now.
Casino, nonstop excitement just over the Wisconsin border in Lake County, Illinois. I'm Dave Gasper. Game 5 of the first-round playoff series between the Bucks and Pacers is tonight, with the Bucks looking to rebound after the loss of Damian Lillard to a torn Achilles and stave off a third straight first-round exit. Early tip-off tonight at 5 p.m. The Milwaukee Brewers return to action against the 7-21 Chicago White Sox. The Crew has their ace, Freddie Peralta, on the mound against old friend Bryce Wilson for the Sox. First pitch is at 6:40 p.m. And the Green Bay Packers officially signed former first-round pick linebacker Isaiah Simmons to a one-year contract. Also, the Packers and Jair Alexander are talking about a possible resolution that could see Alexander back in Green Bay next season. I'm Dave Gasper on Milwaukee's most listened-to sports station, 97.3 The Game.
At The Game, we're big fans of Friends with Benefits.
Excuse me?
So, friend, get a fully loaded tailgate and ticket to Brewers and Cardinals Friday night, June 13th for just $45. Brewers, Cardinals, and the tailgate for just $45. Get it? Friends with Benefits.
That was pretty funny.
Get your tickets now.
Know the secret. Our doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program helps you lose weight fast, naturally and safely, and with no drugs or injections with risk of serious side effects, no prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, and no exercising required. Our program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good with a coach for ongoing support. Our program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com to schedule your free consultation.
KB here to tell you about one of the best decisions I ever made, going to Milwaukee Weight Loss. With their program, I'm in the best shape I've been in for years, and I did it without injections, drugs, or prepackaged meals. It changed my life. It will change yours too.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-433-4008 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank. Looking to simplify your everyday banking? Our checking and savings accounts offer the tools you need, plus the friendly, simply local service you deserve. Enjoy competitive rates, 24/7 online and mobile banking, and real people ready to help right here in your community. Whether your checking balance is at midnight or stopping by one of our branches at noon, Great Midwest Bank has you covered with a variety of new and improved account options designed for your unique needs. Great Midwest Bank, simply local and member FDIC.
I'm not against shopping online. In fact, you can check out our huge selection at BurkhartSportingGoods.com. But when you're ready to buy, Burkhart should be your only stop. Because here, you can grab hold of the Midwest's largest selection of baseball bats, gloves, and equipment, and take all the swings you need in our indoor batting cages to make sure you buy the right bat. And when you buy your new mitt, we'll steam and custom fit it for you right on the spot. This is Brian Burkhart, and when you love baseball and softball like we do, you can't beat Burkhart. If you're in charge of uniforms and equipment, you want to get the most value for your team's budget. You want the most for your money, and you want the process to be easy, because you already have enough on your plate. We get it. Burkhart Sporting Goods Team Outfitting Division is the best you'll find. With an abnormally high customer satisfaction rate and our own silk screening and embroidery facility for quality control. So if you want the highest quality team outfitting and incredible service, you can't beat Burkhart.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
At Rocket, we believe everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. So if you're feeling locked out of home ownership, we're here to give you back the keys. We're opening doors, breaking down walls, and doing everything we can to turn renters into owners. And we're not going to stop until we help everyone home. To find out more, visit rocket.com. Rocket, Own the dream.
Broadcasting from the all-new Iron Jock Studios, built by Rima Remodel. Turn it up! This is WRNW-FM Milwaukee, 97.3 The Game.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, smart and good-looking listeners across Wisconsin. Drew and KB's Timeout Sports Lounge is now open. So grab a bar stool and belly up because it's time to knock a few back with your host, Drew and KB.
So basically you have Jim, Jack, Johnny Red, Johnny Black, and Jose, all my favorite men.
Time for drinking, bud.
Drink up while it's cold, ladies. Toilet wine is a big thing in there, and people get their drink on.
We sat and drank with the sun on our shoulders and felt like free men.
I don't know what inferior swill this is, but I ordered a Lagavulin. Set him up and I'll knock him back, Lloyd. 1 by 1.
We hope there isn't a single fan who is having a problem with the two-fisted slopper.
Drink. The king commands it.
They took the bar! The whole bar!
Medium dry martini, lemon peel, shaken, not stirred.
It is 5:01 in the Goodland. Happy hour is here. Welcome into the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge. Drew and KB, our happy hour oasis. I'm Drew Olson, co-proprietor with KB.
What's going on, brother man?
Well, Bucks are getting ready for tip-off here, and we have of the two giant televisions in the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge, which looks a lot like the Iron Jock studio we've been in all day. One of them is tuned to the NBA TV network, the NBA network, and the other one is tuned to FanDuel Sports Wisconsin. And the one with the NBA network, the NBA TV, says the game currently being telecast is not available due to contractual league requirements. Please check your local listings to find out where the game is available in your area. Well, that would be on FanDuel Sports locally. Bucks and Pacers getting ready to tip off with Game 5. Bucks facing elimination. If they do not win tonight's game, they are a 7.5-point underdog playing without Dame Lillard in Indianapolis at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. TheCentralStandard.com is where you can learn about those delicious spirits crafted together. You're going to watch the Bucks tonight. You might want to have a cocktail nearby. Probably always a good idea this time of day, having a happy hour cocktail. What's our drink of the day, KB, featuring Central Standard Spirits?
We're drinking new fashions.
Ooh, what's a new fashion?
A new fashion is different.
The bar in the Deer District.
No, a new fashion is we're going to go with the bourbon, preferably Drew and KB's Cabin Strength Bourbon, sweet vermouth bitters, just a little bit of soda, but instead of mushing up the cherries and the oranges, we're going to do a little basil, strawberries, and a little bit of simple syrup in there.
Ooh.
So that is the new fashion.
It sounds a little exotic. I kind of dig it. That's a good cocktail of the day. Hunter, where are you taking us for drinks? Where is our tour of taverns statewide taking us today?
We're going to go to Thorpe, Wisconsin, and visit the Wasted Grain.
By Gilman? We're not going to Gilman, or are we going through Gilman?
We might be going through Gilman because we're in Thorpe.
All right.
Right on Highway 73 in Thorpe. And to the Wasted Grain. Now, they have New York handmade pizza. They've got hamburgers. They have 18 beers on tap. And they went live on their Facebook page last night while the storms rolled through. So I went to their Facebook page, and they've got a live video of a lot of lightning going on and making sure everybody was safe over there. So you got the Wasted Grain in Thorpe.
The Wasted Grain, 18 tap lines. What's the minimum amount of tap lines? Our tavern owners out there, and an up north bar, how many sticks do you need, KB? You need 5? How many tap lines do you think is like standard for just entry level dive bar?
Oh, you only need 2.
Well, it's what, regular and light?
Yeah, basically. We really theoretically, no, I mean, you would have I suppose probably 4.
One of the bars we hung out with in college probably had 5 tap lines, but we were convinced it was all the same red, white, and blue.
Probably is
serving under every one of them.
Probably is. I wouldn't doubt it.
And I don't think the lines have been cleaned. So
ever
on $3 pitcher night.
I can't tell you.
Say the next day, the ramifications of the porcelain punishment were real.
I can't tell you the last time I had a tap beer. in a bar.
I had one at the Moose Lodge. I had one just last Friday at the Moose Lodge.
Well, I don't drink I don't drink a lot of beer, but if I do go out and have beer, I'll have a bottle of beer. I generally don't drink tap beers for that reason.
High life, my man. Absolutely.
Right. I mean, and for that reason, you don't know how clean they keep things. I've watched enough Bar Rescue to know this place is disgusting.
Yeah, if you trust the place, like there are places where we know people and we trust them and that they run a good business, and you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the barometers for me is how clean are the bathrooms? Here at the Timeout Sports Lounge, they're spotless because they're hypothetical. They're virtual.
Oh, absolutely.
But
they
how
don't
clean
smell.
are the bathrooms? Then you know that the kitchen's probably on point. Now, I have buddies who are in the food service industry, like delivering food. And I will mention that I'm going to a restaurant or something, and they're like, yeah, I wouldn't go there because they see what goes on in the back. And even places that are, air quotes, nice and have good reputations, they're like, yeah, I wouldn't eat there. So those guys are good barometer for things.
I just get the biggest kick out of people that, you go to a nice restaurant here and someone, knocks their fork off a table and they'll get all upset and I got to have a new fork right now. I can't eat this. I got to have a new fork. Yet they'll tell you a story about how they, ate off a barbecue in a Mexican street in a little town somewhere, which is hardly regulated. You know, I mean, it's like you're upset about this, but you go and do, we had scorpion in Thailand.
I eat street food. I like it.
Okay, but I get it. That's fine. But don't sit there and get upset if you're in a restaurant and you drop a fork on the floor if you're going to go eat a scorpion out of a wet market, right?
If you drop something on the kitchen floor at Castle Brandt, is it the 5-second rule?
Yes, of course it is. Yeah, it's a 5-second rule.
Kenneth walked by with his muddy paws.
You know what? It's like, yeah, who cares? You know what? I am of the belief that too much sanitizer is worse for you. Okay, because you're killing you're not building up any tolerance, and I'm not saying you walk around filthy, right? But it's not going to kill you. It's not going to hurt you. People are freaked out about all this stuff. It's like, it's like, oh my God, there's a measles outbreak. You know who had measles? I did as a kid. A lot of us did. It's not that big of a deal. It's not. It was a regular thing. And it's like we just tend to freak out over stuff like that. And it's like, man, just relax a little bit. Everyone just needs to relax a little bit. And you know what? I need to relax a little bit because I'm getting too worked up, bitching about everybody needs to relax.
That is true. Why should you care if they freak out?
I don't. Well, no, I'm just saying I find it funny. But yeah, I shouldn't care if they freak out. And you know what? I'm not going to care anymore.
877-794-97.3. Bucks are scoreless in the first minute as they play. And Giannis's first shot attempt was a bit of a brick. Again, Bucks are facing when you get to situations like this, and we said Indiana leads this series 3-1. And in NBA history, in 7-game series, the teams that with a 3-1 lead win 95% of the time. So it's like even if the Bucks were somehow to win here, and then you get it back and you have an exciting night, and let's say they face Game 7, then you run out of gas, right? It's generally how it plays out.
It's like
so. It's almost like let's just get it over with.
Now, get the inevitable over with, and
see, we are the exact opposite of our buddy Trevor, who's been sitting in for Billy Schmid this week, right? Or I'm sorry, Trevor's in for Heller.
Yep.
Yeah, he's in for I forget because those guys are Heller's Johnny Carson, and Billy just had a addition to the family, so he's on paternity leave. But when Trevor's is like convinced that they're going to win tonight, and it's not over yet, and it's like it's over. It ended
so high.
It ended when Dame crumpled to the floor on Sunday night at Pfizer.
I would argue that they didn't have a chance before that.
I think they did,
but
I think they did, but. Again, once Dame went out, it was pretty much done. The lift that the Pacers got from there offset any home court advantage the Bucks might have had. And I'm sure the Gainbridge Fieldhouse is rocking right now because they smell blood. They want to advance. They want to beat the Bucks again.
They got their yellow T-shirts on.
They're wearing those ghastly uniforms. The Pacers uniforms are hideous. Don't like them at all. And I'm not usually a uniform guy. I'm totally agnostic. But when I see something that's ugly like what Indy's wearing right now, Not a fan.
Now, I don't use the word hero very often. But Dave's not here, man. Said I went to a strip club on Bourbon Street and I bought a tab beer. Wow. Daredevil.
Well, yeah.
Tab beer at a strip club? I don't know. That's definitely a location.
You just said that, people too sanitary, too obsessed with cleanliness and all that. Your immunity, your natural immunity, if you can drink that.
If you can drink it, that's fine. I'm just saying that I tap lines. And the reason I don't like dirty tap lines is because the beer is bad and it doesn't taste good. And it's not a good product. I've never really been worried about, ptomaine poisoning from a tap beer. I just don't like it. I don't think it tends to be, a lot of times it tends to be really flat.
The food safety thing is always interesting to me because, it's a huge deal. And I would rather eat at a place with a clean kitchen than a dirty kitchen, right? But all it takes is one guy sneezing and not washing his hands or something. Yeah. But then there's also, I remember being in New York covering some stuff in my newspaper days, and they did a story like there was the restaurant ratings and the health code ratings.
Oh,
a guy with a hot dog cart on the street.
It was cleaner than a 5-star.
Cleaner than the nice Michelin star place. Yeah, he had a better, cleaner rating. Yeah, so okay. And then everybody like, you're eating a hot dog on the street? Yeah. Again, it's different in New York, though. It is a little bit different. Just saying. life is different. I think they have higher immunity than we do. I'm just saying. If you live in the city, like Nags comes here, he lives in New York. He's one of us, and he goes home to Appleton and stuff. When you're riding the subway and you're amongst the people, Hunter, I don't know if you ever dream of living and working in the New York market, but I'm guessing no. I'm guessing no.
No, I do not believe I do. I remember the first time I went to New York City, and that night I just kind of had to sit down and be like,
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming for Amish people. They've never seen so much. They've never seen so many mechanical things.
A lot of stimulation there.
A lot of stimulation. Hey, we have a chance for you to win some bonus bucks right now. You can win $1,000 by entering the nationwide keyword on our website, 973thegame.com. Keyword this hour is win, as in you can win. Don't know if the Bucks will tonight, but you can win. Keyword win at 973thegame.com. Your chance to win $1,000.
Jacob and Ezekiel aren't building that high rise in a day. I'll tell you that much.
Probably not. 877-794-1973 gets you in. It's an interesting time because I feel like we could reboot the conversation we had at the top of the show about Giannis and the Bucks' future and how everything, once this season's over, the decisions that they face in this offseason, more important than probably the outcome of this game and this series. But then again, anybody who cares about the Bucks right now is probably watching the game.
Well, if they're not, the Bucks have started on an 11-0 run.
Which, holy cow. Yeah, man.
3 threes, AJ Green, Giannis, and Bobby, and then a Giannis 2 scoring at will, and the Pacers can't score.
And there are folks who, it's the NBA, and obviously, but that's about as good a start as you can have. It was interesting to me, though, and again, I've said, I'll just say I'm a Doc Rivers fan going back to his Marquette days and back to when he was a counselor before he even started at Marquette at basketball camps that I attended, right? Doc Rivers fan, but as a coach of the Bucks, I have not been a fan of his work. I don't think he's done a good job. And Indy for most of the series has looked more prepared and excited and invested.
Well, they're younger
than the Bucks did. That's
they're
part
younger,
of it.
and their whole strategy.
They're also well coached. The way they've been putting up the Giannis wall is reminiscent of what Toronto was doing at times. And then obviously it's part of the fact that Giannis is not surrounded by, he doesn't have Chris Middleton. Brooke is older. He doesn't have the weapons that he had at his disposal. But also the way that the Pacers move the ball and take advantage of matchups and expose the Bucks for over helping and over rotating and things like that. It's, when the Pacers move the ball and like throw 5 passes on a possession and get a wide open 3, like they shot 60% from the floor. And it was almost like it was just some of those shots were about as contested as the shoot around that they had in the morning before game 4 on Sunday morning. So it's,
Well, they came out and they said their whole game plan against the Bucks was to run the old men ragged, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and that's, again, Rick Carlisle's a good coach, and they have good young players and a lot of offensive options. But the thing is, regression is real. And when a team shoots 60% and can't miss, there were shots that they hit that were ridiculous. Some of them were wide open, and you're like, oh, well, it's a wide open shot. What do you expect? He's an NBA player. But some of the shots they hit were borderline ridiculous, and they still went in. They had the mojo. And as usually in sports, regression is real, and there will be a market correction of some kind. And hell, I root for the stories, and it would be nice to have another Bucks home game.
It would.
You know,
I'll also tell you, so 192 minutes heading into tonight, 192 minutes in the series. The Bucks led for 25 of the 192. It's been so one-sided. I know the Bucks won a game, but otherwise, it's been pretty one-sided in this series. But right now, it's one-sided in favor of the Bucks.
Yeah, well, we'll take it while we can get it. They're leading. If they can hang on to this cushion, the series will be coming back. Brewers against the White Sox tonight. Hunter, is there a baseball pregame show this evening?
There is, 6:00. Getting you ready for Brewers and White Sox on the south side.
And you'll probably, you won't get it during that show. But isn't Woody pitching? Is it tomorrow? Tomorrow's pitching for them.
I think is it a day game? I think it's a day game on Wednesday.
Is it?
I believe.
Well, I know it's a night game on Thursday because guess who's broadcasting live from Neuroscience Field in Appleton at Timber Rattlers game on Thursday?
Come on out and see us.
Drew and KB will be there. And Hunter will be back here at headquarters, but David Gasper is going to come up with us. We'll take him on a road trip. But we're going to be up there talking to some T-Rats. We're going to be up there a couple times during the season. Looking forward to it.
They're going to put our picture on the scoreboard, Hunter.
Ooh.
Our picture or our logo? Faces for radio. I don't want my picture anymore.
I don't want my picture up, but
it's the cost of doing business.
Okay.
They say it's, good to get our face out there.
I've never been on the big screen.
Oh.
I've never been on a Jumbotron.
Oh, you have when we threw out the first pitch.
Oh, okay. I guess
You just didn't turn around and look at yourself?
No.
You'll get to see it right in front of you when you do the show. Woody's pitching on tomorrow at 12:10, afternoon affair.
God, I'd like to go see that.
And it'll be interesting because I think that the T-Rats might see a spike in attendance on Thursday.
Because we're there.
Because we're there.
Yeah.
And the Brewers are playing the White Sox, and that's a day game. So there's no competition from the local 9, from the big league 9 on Thursday because the Brewers will be clearing the deck and playing a getaway game. I'm a little surprised that that's a noon or a 1:10 start on Thursday at Sox Park, US Cellular, because with a short trip like that, you could make the case that
So does Woody stay up there when does he stay up there with so he goes up and pitches, comes back to Milwaukee?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, hell, he might even be in
and
Chicago.
The reason they usually put him there is because Nashville's usually on the road, or they don't want him to travel.
He might be in Chicago right now.
He could be.
I was saying if he was up there pitching,
he's getting
if he was gonna pitch on Wednesday and maybe just be there on Thursday, would be great if we could talk to him.
That's part of no, he won't be up there.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
Yeah, we won't.
Now I know.
But we'll have to ask the players what it was like to have him pitch there and stuff. But it is interesting though, because when Yelich was hurt, and it's a function of how baseball has expanded, and I don't mean franchises. I mean employees and the traveling party and the support staff, the coaching staffs have basically doubled in size in a generation. And it used to be that when a player was injured, and it was one of those long-term injuries that you're going to be on maybe even a 60-day guy or something, they didn't want him around the clubhouse, because at that point they had 2 trainers, a head athletic trainer and assistant athletic trainer, and they were busy tending to the guys who were going to play in a given night, in a given series. And they didn't have time to rehab the guys. But now they travel with so many medical people, stretch therapists, chiropractors. They have many staff that it's not as big a burden for injured players to hang out and be around the team. And that's an interesting change.
There's almost
I remember they would, and those guys were like, you're absolutely not going on the road. And it was even at home games, They'd have to get there earlier, and you didn't see them because they would get them out of the way so that they could work with guys who were playing. It's unreal how that's changed over the years.
Well, the NBA has more coaches than players.
Oh yeah, that back bench on the NBA is real.
It's ridiculous.
It's like a 2-to-1 coaching ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I heard that from someone just recently. Who was the team? I think it was. Oh, the Suns were in town toward the end of the season, and the Suns stay at the Kimpton Hotel in the Third Ward. A lot of NBA teams are staying in the Third Ward now. And you saw their buses, and someone said, there's 2 buses to take an NBA team? Don't they only have like 12 or 15 players?
No,
it's
they have 60.
Two buses.
2 buses.
Yeah,
it's so cool to see when they walk out of the hotel to the bus, and
Remember,
man, you can get that smell of weed.
Remember when all the teams stayed at the Hyatt and they would walk over to the
Hyatt,
arena, and some players would take a bus from across the street from the Hyatt
to the Mecca
to the old Mecca. Yeah. 877-794-1973. We've got Mark in Brookfield on line 1 of the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line. Mark, welcome to the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge.
How you doing, guys?
We are fantastic. What do you got for us?
Quick question for you. So I was a professional umpire, so you know what it's like being in the professional baseball game. Drew, I was just curious what it meant for Woody. Is he flying private to these events, whether it be Nashville or Appleton, kind of thing? Is he driving?
Yeah, I'm sure he's driving to Appleton.
I'm sure he's not flying to
Nashville.
He might be flying to Nashville.
And yeah, I would say most likely not. I mean, there are a handful of guys that could go on a rehab and pay for their own flight, but most of the time it would be commercial, first class.
And
right?
And then if he's going up to Appleton, it's not like he has to play at the AAA level. They're just stretching him out to make sure that, okay, can he go 3 innings? Can he go 4 innings? Can he go 5 innings? Right?
Sure.
So it doesn't matter if he gets beat.
I had plenty of those opportunities where I had big leaguers come down and they pitch the game or whatever. They say, hey, there's a big leaguer coming on or whatever, like, hey, just so you know, Brandon Woodruff's coming down to work the game kind of thing. Just curious what your thoughts were. Drew.
Yeah. Well, and the one thing, I don't know if this impacted the umpires at all. Probably didn't. But the one great time-honored tradition is that when a major league player goes to a rehab assignment at a minor league club, he upgrades the spread. So whatever the best restaurant is in Appleton that the Timber Rattlers use, they will be providing a meal, and Woodruff will pick up the tab. That is like a baseball tradition.
Totally get it. Yeah. No, I totally get it. We got hot dogs and nachos, and then all of a sudden we were getting some kind of primo dinner. I totally understand.
So, okay. How long did you umpire, man?
Yeah. So I umpired for a while, so quite a few years. I kind of struggled my way through the minor leagues and then realized that I was just expendable as a player, and they decided, yep, you're done, kind of thing. So, but I umpired for about 6 years. So, yeah,
well,
that's very cool.
And the fact that you got that deep into it, kudos to you, man. I mean, you think about it. And I had this conversation with the Icon one time because we were talking about baseball salaries or something. He's like, yeah, there aren't many people that can do what we do. I'm like, yeah, well, there aren't many people that can do what I do, and there are fewer writers than there are players.
There you go.
So therefore, we should be making more money, and there are fewer umpires than there are players. And those guys that grind it in the minor leagues, man, and trying to get there, and I know it's the dream of everybody, but it's just as hard to go from A ball as a player. It might maybe even harder as an umpire to get it from A ball to the big leagues, right? The percentages.
Yeah. But I mean, man, what was it the coolest experience you've ever experienced in your life, man? I mean, it was like, I'm a pro baller. You know what I mean? It went from being a high school baseball player to like, I'm in pro ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. So yeah, you paid your dues, man. Congratulations on that. That's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for the call, man.
Cool.
Appreciate it. Mark in Brookfield hanging out with us. As mentioned, we're in the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge, and the keyword for the bonus bucks this hour is win. I hope you win $1,000. Have we had any winners yet, Hunter? This batch of contests?
I don't believe yet.
Haven't heard anything.
We're still waiting.
It's not just us. The other 5 stations in the building are alerting people to keywords.
They've had some winners.
But we would love it if someone listening to our show won $1,000. That would kind of make our week. So enter the word win at 973thegame.com. Do it today. It's a nationwide contest. We'd love to give you $1,000. We can't do it personally.
No.
But if you win the contest, you can get $1,000.
Yeah,
what we can do is have a conversation with our buddy Matt Lepay, the voice of the Badgers. Plenty to ask Matt about.
We will do it.
And he will join us next. We are in the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge. It is Drew and KB statewide on the game.
That's just how I feel. Trying to reach the things that I can't see.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Crash cleanup continuing at the Hale interchange on the northbound Rock Freeway ramp to northbound 894. It's off to the left. Westbound on 94 out at Highway F in Waukesha County. Crash blocking the left shoulder. Jam back to US 18. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Dairy Queen. Get big summer flavor in every bite with the new DQ Summer Blizzard Treat menu, featuring new mixing bowl mashup, fan-voted s'mores, and more. For a limited time, right now at DQ. Happy tastes good. At participating locations.
Tilton Windows, Doors, and More.
KB here. I've been recommending Tilton Windows, Doors, and More for 4 years now, Javier?
Actually, we met back in 2019. So this is our 7th year of working together.
Wow. Well, it's because we're happy with everything you've done. You did our replacement windows, patio door, fixed some siding, hence the more part of Tilton Windows, Doors, and More.
We love working on your home, KB. How are your energy bills? Are you noticing a difference?
Big time. My monthly budget billing amount has gone down just about every year. And that's another benefit of the work you've done.
That's what I like to hear from customers. So if you're listening right now and your home could stand to be energy efficient and use a facelift, consider Tilton for your home improvement projects.
All right, smart and good-looking listeners, it's time for you to go to utilton.com to get started. That's the letter U, Tilton.com. At Tilton Windows, Doors, and More, they've got what you're looking for.
We've got what you're looking for. Tilton Windows, Doors, and More.
At Potawatomi, where ways to win are endless, another chance to capture epic cash and prizes comes Friday, June 27th. It's the season finale blockbuster drawings. Watch your entries from enchanted spins, unreal treasures, and boundless bounty come together for drawings where $300,000 in cash and prizes is there for the taking. Be there to win your share. June 27th only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info online. Must be 21 years old to play.
Tired of feeling like you're in a fishbowl every time you hit the road? It's time to tint your windows. Tinting your windows will not only block harmful UV rays, but also reduces glare and keeps your car cooler on those scorching summer days. We offer a lifetime warranty on film and installation. Charisma offers a color-stable film that makes your vehicle look great, and a ceramic film that blocks 99% of UV rays and 85% of sun's heat. Ceramic window film is the best you can get and keeps you cool in blistering summer heat. 262-444-2525. CharismaCustoms.com.
It's Brian Butch for Window Nation, and April's a great time to spruce up around your house, especially during Window Nation's, that's right, buy 4, get 4 free sale going on right now, and you don't have to pay anything until 2027. And if you buy a house full of windows, they'll include a free entry door as well. That's why I trust Window Nation. We know it's top quality windows, customer service. The installation is great. So make sure you give a call at 866-90-NATION or visit them at windownation.com.
Save big money now on pre-finished siding at Menards. Update and beautify your home with your choice of 13 timeless colors of pre-finished LP Smart Side engineered siding. It's durable and includes a Sherwin-Williams machine-applied paint warranty. That means no painting for years to come. Save big money today on all LP Smart Side products. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
we can be twinsies
to
how was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
He's coming. Here he goes.
Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless. What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Wilmer Valderrama and Freddie Rodriguez welcome another amigo to their podcast, Dos Amigos. Wilmer's friend and former That 70s Show castmate Topher Grace stops by the Speakeasy for a 2-part interview to discuss his career and reminisce about old times.
We were still in that place of like, what will this experience become? And you go, you're having the best time you're ever going to have. Yeah. But it was like such a perfect golden time.
Listen to Dos Amigos on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Dos Amigos.
The Calder Cup playoffs begin Thursday night when the Milwaukee Admirals host the Rockford Ice Hawks.
He'll carry back to the middle of the line, leave it for Friedman. Martin without his goalie stick. Friedman near pipe, score!
Pre-game coverage begins at 6:30. Face-off is at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeart Radio app.
Drew and KB hanging out with you, drinking bourbon in the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge, our happy hour oasis. Happy to be joined by our pal Matt Lepay, the voice of the Badgers. Our conversations with Matt are brought to you by Ridgetop Exteriors, the epitome of expertise and reliability in home exterior solutions. Get started at ridgetopexteriors.com. Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon, boys. Tell me all about it. Tell me about the house. You survived.
Oh,
what did I
we
miss?
survived. Just think about the worst days of your living arrangements in college in terms of sleep deprivation, bad nutrition, and funky smells. We had it all.
And Heller, did Heller spread his germs that nobody else is sick yet? I heard he was.
Oh, KB is sick.
I'm all messed up on cold pills.
KB is sick and decided to come into work today to infect everybody else, trying to spread it around.
And
I
have not been sitting anywhere near you guys.
That's true, but you're touching doorknobs and stuff. You're here. You're in the midst.
And we went through COVID together, for Christ's sake.
That's
I got a
true.
head cold.
That is
I would worry about it.
Let's just say,
Sorry, Matt, we're fighting on your time, and
it was a fun week, Matt. And Wayne Larrivee, your partner on the Larrivee and Lepay podcast, was a trooper. He hung out with us, didn't complain when Zabe and Butchie fired up at 6 a.m. and everybody in the house had to get up because it was like a clock radio you couldn't turn off.
Yeah, I heard Butch got concussed. You know, he smacked his head into the low ceiling.
Oh my God! I hit the ceiling. I'm coming in at 5'11" and a quarter, and I bumped my head on the ceiling 3 times.
Yeah, don't know how Butchie managed that, but let's say it was fun. It was good for team building, camaraderie. But I'm in no hurry to do it until training camp when we go and reboot the frat house.
That's
setup.
fair. You check that box for the next few
We
months.
did.
Anyway. That's good.
I'm happy to do it once a year. This year it's twice because of the draft, but it was a once in a lifetime experience, and it was really cool, Matt. It was fantastic. A lot of former Badgers introducing guys, and then we had a couple get introduced. And in this era of NIL, I guess we got to get used to somebody who was here for a while getting drafted, and then you're excited like a Chim DK. Like he's a double whammy being from Waukesha.
Yeah, I was thrilled for him. I had no idea that he would go as soon as he did, but awesome for him. You know, he did some good work last fall with the Gators. Graham Mertz gets picked too in the 6th round. So, you know, a couple guys who bet on themselves, and it worked. Especially somebody like Chim, who was a productive receiver here, and then the offense changed, and they brought in some transfer receivers, and he just thought his best avenue was to go to Gainesville. And in the moment, I'm going, I guess I get where he's coming from, but he obviously made the right decision. He tested well too. I thought I saw his 40 time was sub like 4.37, something like that, sub 4.4. So good for him. And then the 2 Badgers who ended their career as Wisconsin Badgers, they had to wait, which thought that was a possibility. Opinions varied about, I think Jack Nelson maybe more than the others, that maybe he would go earlier, but at least in the 7th round, he got picked right away. A few selections later, Hunter Wohler as well. So they're in one of these cycles, guys. Let's tell Heller this yesterday. They've had 7 picks in the last 3 years, and that has some folks up in arms, online discourse and all that, but they've gone through this, in 15, 16, and 17, they had 7 guys picked. Now, the 17 draft was the last time they had first rounders with TJ Watt and Ryan Ramczyk, but it's ebb and flow with Wisconsin football historically with the number of guys who get drafted. The most they've had is 8 in the 7-round draft going back to the mid-90s. They had 8 picked in 2001, and those were guys who were really a big part of the back-to-back Rose Bowl champion teams. Guys like Michael Bennett, Wisconsin guy, Jamar Fletcher, Casey Robach, Bill Ferrario, those guys. 4 or 5 is a good number. That they hit that fairly often, sometimes more, sometimes less. 4 or 5 is a good number for Wisconsin guys to hear their names called. They're just in one of those down cycles. And now the question, and it's a fair one, is can they get this cycled back up in the next year or two, hopefully?
I know from a program standpoint, it's better to have guys drafted so you can say you're feeding guys to the NFL. For a player standpoint, sometimes isn't it better to be undrafted and get to pick your team if you have a good agent who has a relationship with the team and that you're a good fit and they know they're sending you in? It's almost like you get a little bit more of a path. It's not easy for an undrafted free agent to make a roster. It's not easy for a 7th rounder to make a roster, but it's like, I know the school would rather say, hey, we got the kid drafted. We had 2 kids taken in the 7th round.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Sometimes you are better off. At the same time, I think if you're somebody like Jack Nelson or Hunter Wolder, where you were really counting on hearing your name called, you wonder, were they starting to get a little bit anxious there? They I think were realistic enough to know that it was going to be, could very well be till Saturday before they hear their names. But you go through round 6 and you're thinking, it's important, I think, for some guys to hear their names, but you're right. I mean, with Jim Leonard, undrafted free agent, Alec Ingold, one of the former Badgers who announced a Miami Dolphins draft pick last week. He was undrafted. It can work out for you, but I think for these guys still to hear their name, it's a big deal.
Well, I think the days of recruiting saying we can get you to the NFL are over. I don't think that's going to be a selling point on universities anymore as much as it is with money, with the money that they're throwing at these kids.
It used to be how many games do you play on TV? Now everybody's on TV.
Everyone's on TV.
Everyone's on
we
TV.
can get you and now you've just replaced money with getting you to the NFL, and there are kids that are just like, okay, well, great, I can get to the NFL anywhere.
Well, it's both, KB.
How much money?
Yeah.
It's both, because the better NFL prospect you become, the more money you can make while you are in college. It is still a combination. I think in some cases in this NIL world, if all things are equal or close to equal, a player will go where he thinks he can develop best and make himself the best
And that goes
NFL.
And somewhere else the next year.
You're well compensated along the way. There's no doubt about that. But I wouldn't just say it's not about NFL abilities, because ultimately these guys want to get there in most cases. And like I said, the better prospect you are, the more money you're going to make in college. And in some cases, you might take a pay cut, going a legitimate pay cut. That used to always be a joke in college athletics, which sometimes was probably true in the tax-free days, so to speak. But now, you can make 7 figures in a season in college, and depending on where you're drafted, you're not going to make that right away.
Well, the minimum NFL minimum is $840,000.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there are guys that are definitely going out and making more in college.
Yeah.
So Shador, had he hung around. But it's enough Shador talk.
Yeah, that's plenty. We've had Mel Kiper's had enough. So, Matt, I'm seeing out of Indy, I look to see the reaction, and the people like the pick, and they know they're getting a gamer and Hunter Wohler. And we had said last week that he's going to make plays on special teams, and he's going to open some eyes, and he's going to do what Badgers do, is go out there and represent and play hard. But they're listing him some places as a linebacker.
Yeah, big guy. People wondered about that. I don't. Yeah. It would be interesting. I don't know enough about the structure of the Colts defense. I would think probably a safety, maybe a hybrid. And it's also, Badger fans, the more diehard Badger fans know this, but for those who don't, Chris Ballard, the GM, is a former Badger, so it probably didn't hurt. I thought maybe if he fell to Denver, Jim Leonard, maybe depending on how much influence he had, but a guy like Hunter, he did, his body changed through the weight program and all of that, but I would still think probably more of he's a safety who can hit you like a linebacker, though. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. They're getting a good kid and a good player. I mean, we don't pretend to know these guys, but especially you have a lot of interaction with the guys. We don't, but I just remember we were at events when we had Braylon on our show, and we did some events with Chimray DK, and he was just a great kid. Some of the camps he did and some of the stuff that he had, I always thought he was, that's a guy to watch. You could kind of tell he carried himself like a guy who was going to play on Sunday.
For sure. All three of those guys, maybe the personalities are a little different, but, when Braylon was here, he had charity softball games back in Fond du Lac. That was very important to him to do that. Chim's just phenomenal, and all of them are. But yeah, Hunter, he is that Badger player. All three, but, with in the case of Hunter, he's the kind of player that it's almost a throwback now. Like the fans really embrace him. Good player. He checks all the boxes on and off the field. You hope there will be more of those, that hang around, but that remains to be seen in this Wild West era we're in right now.
Well, okay. Speaking of that, I mean, might as well fire this argument up again, and see where you stand on it. Where do you where do you come down on this whole NIL now with the WIAA that you could pay high school kids?
From what I hear, well, they're joining the party. I mean, it's 30 some other states have it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying in general. What are your thoughts?
In general, I think from what I know about it, KB, it's a much different kind of structure as opposed to the Wild West of college. I mean, the high school kids can't go get an agent, and it's not like you're gonna. I wouldn't think gonna transfer and play it. Maybe you will at 4 different high schools. I just got
now with the basketball with the AAU.
Well, yeah. AJ Storr did that a lot. He bounced all over the place. You could go, so you could do that. AJ getting ready for the 8th school in 8 years of high school and college. But anymore, KB, I just shrug my shoulders. Okay. Here you go. There's going to be unintended consequences because that's just how life works, right? But I think at this point, sure, go ahead. And if
I guess
someone's going to be crazy, and someone's going to be crazy and go pay a sophomore quarterback a crazy amount of money, then I guess good for the sophomore in high school.
I just can't wrap my head around the reasoning because kids in high school can go get jobs. And I think in high school,
though, KB, they couldn't sell the WIA stayed with the NCAA and saying that they couldn't use their NIL. Now they're saying they can. So kids, if they can sell an Instagram post and make $50.
Yeah, I'm
stay eligible.
I'm gonna sound like and the text line will blow me up for being a cranky old man. But as someone who comes across a lot of college students on the course of my day, I think at the high school level they should be a little less concerned about NIL and a little bit more concerned on teaching them the difference between there, and there. Just saying. I am just saying. Maybe teach them how to write a paragraph break. How about that?
I think
business letter.
That was probably a concern before this was passed, though, wasn't it?
Well, I'm sure it was. That's what I'm saying. Is that okay? We're worried about paying athletes. How about worried about their education?
Yeah,
and these are kids that aren't athletes.
The best ones and the ones with the most well-adjusted families hopefully will continue to do that. But I think even before this, came into play at the high school level, if you talk to coaches through the years, or maybe you've noticed it, KB, at Marquette when they come in there, a lot of times these high school athletes, it's still about where's my best opportunity
to
I've spent some money in college.
Well, I will say this. I will tell you my experience at Marquette, and I've had the occasion to teach great kids. I had Marcus Howard, I had Sam Hauser, I had Cam Jones, bunch of kids on the women's volleyball team. I've lacrosse, and I can honestly say what they do at Marquette, the academic advisors, they ride them, and they ride them hard. And I've only had one student athlete who will remain nameless, who was a total turd. But the other ones were as good or better than many of the students that were just there as students.
That's the thing that with basketball specifically, because of midweek travel, that people, I think, still don't understand. I mean, I'm glad you said what you said, because when the basketball team is going to play some midweek game and wherever, Lincoln, Nebraska, or Bloomington, Indiana, whatever. There's going to be somebody from academic services who's
on that flight,
on the flight, and hounding these guys, and some you might have to hound more than others, but it's still, as much as people might think that forget the academic part, it's hilarious. Well, you just mentioned what it's like at Marquette, and I can just tell you from observation at Wisconsin. I'm not saying they're all rocket scientists over here, but there's definitely some requirements you better fulfill, or there will be consequences.
They put in the work, and you guys were in LA for a week. It's hard to go to class when you're in LA,
right? But I'll tell you, the most surprising thing that happened to me was last year when Marquette was on that good run. Not this year, the year before, right? And everyone thought Cam was going to come out. Well, that's when I had him in class, and after Marquette, I kind of said, all right, you're in the tournament. I'm going to let some things slide because, I'm not going to be the guy that messes up the team. But
don't screw it up, baby. He's too good.
No, but in all honesty, okay, so they got eliminated, and I'm thinking, and all the talk about him going pro, and I'm like, well, I'm never going to see the kid again. The very next day, on that Monday, he was in class, and he came up to me and said, can we schedule some time to do some one-on-ones, and I can catch up on the things that I missed? My jaw almost hit the floor.
And that's the kind of guy that should be an example. And I know
absolutely
you'll do it with future classes. Say, hey, you think Cam Jones is pretty good? He was an electric factory on the floor at Marquette. Well, let me tell you about the other part of Cam Jones that you don't see in front of 17,000 people at Fiserv Forum.
It's
so
Marcus
as long as
Howard.
You have guys like that who get it. Him, Marcus
and
Howard,
Sam were the same way.
Same way. And over here, I could rattle off a bunch of names of Wisconsin guys too. And I think that does get lost. Yes, it's more of a business now than it's ever been. That's true. But there still is, believe it or not, an academic component. So good for Cam Jones, man. That's love watching him play.
All those kids
to hear
were
the
great.
rest.
On the way out, Matt, you heard about our week. How was your week in the Northwoods? How was the draft from the Northwoods?
The Bureau was good, a lot quieter. I was swapping some text messages with you boys, but I took it in though. You guys did great job with the coverage. Here Billy, this minor detail, they have a new child, but he's still doing his thing with Wayne and Doug and all of you guys. And but it was fun to listen and watch. And part of me wishes I was there. Another part of me the Northwoods is pretty nice. So
it's pretty nice. I especially now, we appreciate the quiet. Matt, take a couple weeks break from us. We'll catch up down the road. Thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate it.
Sounds good, boys. Take care.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, the great Matt Lepay, voice of the Badgers, brought to us by Ridgetop Exteriors, the epitome of expertise and reliability in home exterior solutions. Check them out at ridgetopexteriors.com, and be sure and check out the Larrabee and Lepay podcast. Perfectly timely this week. They're talking about the Kentucky Derby, which is already upon us. It's this weekend already.
What did we do? We have to have our Derby pool, right?
We'll have to talk about that in the meeting. Wait, we have meetings?
We have meetings?
Not really.
Do we have a
And we
meeting
will
today?
close down the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge next with one for the road. Drew and KB statewide on the game.
Jump up and get down. Jump, jump, jump.
All shows originate from the Iron Jock Studios. Iron Jock is the official advanced performance gear and apparel worn by the guys at the game. With scientifically backed super fibers and a lifetime guarantee, Iron Jock is proven to permanently beat the stink. Go to ironjock.com. That's ironjoc.com.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by DraftKings, an official partner of the NBA.
The Bucks play a winner-go-home Game 5 in their playoff series against the Pacers tonight. Damian Lillard out for Milwaukee with that torn Achilles. ESPN reports the Packers and cornerback Jair Alexander are in talks toward a resolution of their situation, but could still work out a trade later in the summer. The first trailer for A24's The Smashing Machine is out. The film stars Dwayne Johnson as two-time UFC heavyweight champ Mark Kerr. I'm Frank Garrity.
Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action.
DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
Warshawski's Victor Harding, Best Lawyers Product Liability Attorney of the Year, achieves maximum compensation.
Best Lawyers Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year, Warshawski's Frank Cravello achieves maximum injury compensation.
Injured?
It is about the money.
Warshawski.com.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? At Milwaukee Weight Loss, we know the secret. Our doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program helps you lose weight fast, naturally and safely, and with no drugs or injections with risk of serious side effects, no prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, and no exercising required. Our program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good with a coach for ongoing support. Our program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com to schedule your free consultation.
KB here to tell you about one of the best decisions I ever made, going to Milwaukee Weight Loss. With their program, I'm in the best shape I've been in for years, and I did it without injections, drugs, or prepackaged meals. It changed my life. It will change yours, too.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-433-4008 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
What's up? It's Russell Nicolay with Nicolay Law. You're listening to 97.3 The Game, the #1 sports talk station in Milwaukee. For award-winning injury lawyers, when you're injured, you call Nicolay Law or visit us at NicolayLaw.com. Get the beard, get the win.
Brian Butch from Zabin Butch in the Morning. Sock it to stinky feet with some free Iron Jock socks and take 35% off the best performance apparel on the planet. I would know. I've traveled the world throughout my basketball career, and Iron Jock is hands down my favorite. It's comfortable, fashionable. It has 24/7 odor protection, and it's woven with 4-way stretch, 10% spandex to give you the absolute best feel with the best odor and fabric protection in the industry. And now through May 11th, when you buy $50 or more of Iron Jock Performance Apparel, use promo code SPRING35 to take 35% off your entire order. That's right. Take 35% off your entire order, and you'll receive free Iron Jock socks as a bonus. That's promo code SPRING35 now through May 11th, which happens to be Mother's Day. Iron Jock makes fantastic women's apparel too. Just saying. So take the Brian Butch Challenge and stock up on your favorite Iron Jock gear now through May 11th. Go to ironjock.com. That's ironjoc.com. On behalf of myself and Paul Hansen, happy Mother's Day, Iron Jock Nation.
Cinco de Mayo is near, and the celebration starts at Total Wine & More, your cocktail central. Whether you're shaking up fresh margaritas, sipping on a crisp cerveza, or savoring a smooth tequila, Total Wine is your fiesta celebration destination. So stop by your local Total Wine & More and make this Cinco de Mayo the best one yet. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
The Peace Lily is so last year. Hey, has anyone worked with fiddlenecks?
Shelby's popular flower shop is in full bloom.
We just got a request for an arrangement that evokes air. Who's up for that challenge? No?
She needs to hire a floral designer to nip foliage faux pas in the bud.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our advanced matching helps find talented candidates so you can connect with them fast. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
The Game.
Let's close it down. Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports. Now it's time to shut this bad boy down for the day. We'll be back at it tomorrow. But first, time for one for the road. We pour our drinks into a red Solo cup and hit the streets. KB, what's your one for the road?
Well, my one for the road is that I think the Bucks run is done. And even though they're up big, the Pacers are just running on them, and they got old legs, and it's not going to hold out.
A lot of ball game left.
There is, but
a lot of ball game left. But the thing is, it's freeing. The Bucks know they're not going to win the series, so they're playing loose right now, and that's what you want.
True.
And it's like nothing's more dangerous than a team playing a team that shot 65% in its last game with regression. So
you can't.
So don't be surprised if they win tonight, and then we get all excited for a game 6, and then they lose game 6 at home and get eliminated.
You don't poke a bear that ain't afraid of dying.
That's true. Hunter, what's your one for the road?
Yeah, the Brewers should take 2 or 3 in Chicago against the White Sox. I know it's baseball, so it may not happen, but should happen. And it starts tonight with a win when Freddie Peralta's on the mound. And we'll have the baseball pregame show coming up next to get you ready.
Outstanding. Maya, one for the road is we still have some tickets left for Brewapalooza, June 13th. Potawatomi Sportsbook, The Game, and Left's Lucky Town, Revere's, and the Hot House presenting the best tailgate party. We're out in the parking lot for a game. Tailgate starts at 4. The game is at 7:10. It's a Friday night against the Cardinals. Highly recommend that you get tickets because it's beer and food and a ticket for $45. You can't beat that deal. 973thegame.com/Brewers. It's 973thegame.com/Brewers. We're broadcasting live from the event and then stumbling on in with you. It's going to be a blast. Tomorrow on the program, Adam Pavlock, John Greenberg, many others. See you at